go ahead and admit it. Your Good Friday just got a whole lot better. Greetings, brothers and sisters from all around the world. We are so glad to have you all here this evening. I know it's what we usually do around this time here, but I definitely want to take an opportunity to do that with you here as well. So thank you all for showing up here. Why don't we go ahead and just get to it? Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, my baritone is recovering from months of brutalization. I should say that there. So I guess cutting back on my broadcasting schedule has done great things for my voice. So don't be surprised if I expand that cutting back a little bit more, because my voice has really been getting torn up over the years. And as I get older, I just have to accept, by the way, as I get older, you got to kind of baby it a little bit more than you used to. So then again, there's a whole lot going on here, so I want to be at the top of that. Hey, thank you to all of you who are tuning in to tonight's program here. I know it's a Friday. Your Humpty eyes do not deceive you. We are live and direct to you here at the Black Channel. And like I said, there's a number of different things I could talk about, but there's only a few things I want to talk about here first. Let me go ahead and do that here first. All right, let me cover a few things. As you all know, I have been having a constant attack now for about the last year, about the last 12 months. We've just been under a never-ending siege, in particular, specifically, where monetization is concerned. Now, as you all know, I'm not a person who worries about it, but I do it because the followers and everybody there want to have an avenue for that, to express their gratitude. Great, wonderful. And that's been one of the things that they attempt to attack on that basis. So as you all know, for the better part of the last year, I have been having nonstop issues. I've been having issues out of PayPal, Cash App. They closed that down completely. Small issue with Venmo, but not a tremendous one, but still an issue. YouTube AdSense, the monetization that they use here. Patreon, little funny business happening over there as well. Nothing I couldn't handle, but I'm like, I see you. So over the course of the last year, that's been an issue. A few weeks ago, when we started our crowdfunding for 8 a.m., my follow-up to the historic 7 a.m., everything started okay, or at least I thought it was. The night that we started it, a bunch of you were telling me, hey, the link doesn't work. The link doesn't work. Now, me and my mods, we had actually gone to the link. We had actually gone to the link and tested it out. And the link itself was working. So that's when I was saying, hey, stop telling people that the link's not working, because the link is working. What I did not understand at the time, and this is what I saw happening over the next 2 weeks after that. You all were not trying to say that the link wasn't working. You were trying to say that Indiegogo wasn't working. And it wasn't for another couple of weeks before I realized, wait a minute, that's what they're having trouble with, not the link, but Indiegogo itself. Now, it's been about 6 years, I believe, if memory serves me, since I did a crowdfunding, since I released a film and everything else. I just went back to Indiegogo just assuming that everything was the way I left it 5-6 years ago. I just assumed it was exactly the same and I didn't have to change anything. Indiegogo emails me about a week or two after the crowdfunding begins and tells me about my that they wanted more financial verification. That's what they told me. They told me we want more financial verification or you will not be able to process some payments. Now, that's what they said. They told me we need more financial verification or you may not be able to finance some payments. So I'm like, okay, here we go with the garbage. I didn't say anything to all of you. I didn't think it was that big of an issue. I took what they were saying to mean that if I don't do X, Y, Z, I will have trouble in the future. I did not understand it to mean, oh, the trouble starts right now. The trouble starts right here, right now. You're not gonna get to the end of this thing if you don't do something right here, right now. So long story short, they wanted more financial information about institution stuff, and Stripe in particular was the big problem here. Stripe in particular. If I sound like I'm guarding my words carefully, it's because Indiegogo is listening. What? If I sound like I'm guarding my words carefully, it's because Indiegogo is listening. So, be that as it may, I'm trying to stick to just the facts. Don't look for me to go 10 toes deep up in them, but let's just all be honest here. And Jason, how do you know this? I absolutely know it. So they're listening, so I'm gonna be a little guarded with some of the language I would usually use, since I know that we're not the only ones listening to this broadcast. Okay, it took like a week. So we're going from around the second week to the middle of the third week with the issue not being resolved. I'm emailing them and saying, hey, I sent you the documents that you said you wanted, but you're still saying that there's a problem. So I had to email them 3 or 4 times before I finally got one person, and I was like, look here, I'm going to send this document directly to you, and you tell me where we didn't do that. Otherwise, this needs to get cleared up. So I sent it directly to him, and it wasn't his idea, it was my idea. I sent it directly to him, and he's supposed to be a big muckety muck. Okay, fine. Next thing I know, he tells me, okay, everything's cool, everything's clear. Well, there was a problem with that. The problem with that is all of you who were emailing me telling me that you couldn't get your payments processed. That was the problem. Now, I'm just sitting there the whole time thinking to myself that your payments must have been on hold or something, and that I was going to see them come through later. Because through our discussions, that was the impression I was given, was that, okay, anything you didn't get before there is just on hold and it'll be processed and everything goes fine. That didn't occur. I'm sitting there just looking around all crazy. There's also another thing that I noticed, and I'm going to say this publicly because I'm just putting it all out there so everybody understands exactly what occurred. Payments that were typically over $1,000 were having the biggest issues. So smaller payments, it seemed, had no problem or fewer problems getting through, or maybe just fewer of y'all said anything. Those of you who were giving the larger amounts for the larger tiers, those were the ones that were mostly not going through. Correct, Denise. Those are the ones that were not going through. You had a small trickle of them that made it, but the others weren't going. So I'm like, okay, something is real wrong here. And I'm just sitting back and I'm just waiting, and I'm telling y'all, hey, we're coming up on the end of it here. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just waiting for it, because what has to happen is the money has to be released so you can see it and calculate it and then see who gave it and XYZ. And then your crowdfunding closes out. That didn't occur. So I'm just sitting here like, are you kidding me? So I figured, okay, never mind. I can see what's going on here. What am I supposed to do? Just keep arguing with them about that when I'm like, okay, didn't we talk about this before? So folks have been emailing me. Folks have been contacting me. Because at first I thought it was just Dr. Tiffany, and it wasn't. At first I thought it was just her. And then next thing I know, I'm getting another one and another one and another one and another one. And I'm like, wow, this ain't good. So I just assumed, and if you're gonna blame somebody, after you blame me, go. If you're gonna blame somebody, blame it on me, because I just assumed that everything was where I left it 6 years ago. I thought everything was the same. Or I walked in assuming everything worked the same, or that everything would go the same, and I didn't know. I lost the plot. So I'm looking at all these other things and saying, okay, I'm trying to bat those down and make sure that's straight. And then next thing I know, that goes. So I didn't find out until the second week. Didn't start dealing with it till the end of the second week, getting to the third week. I'm sitting here saying, well, don't worry. Everything's going to be cool. Everything's going to straighten itself out. And it sure didn't. So I'm just sitting around looking. All right. So by the time we get to yesterday, what's today? Friday. By the time we get to 2 days ago, Wednesday, I'm feeling some kind of way about it. By the time we get to yesterday, I just sent out an update to see what would happen when I did. And sure enough, I'm like, yeah, it's doing the same thing it's been doing. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. So I had a choice to make, and I was like, I can do this one of two ways. I can either have everybody else try to pay me through some other means, which I think y'all have been trying to do that. Stop doing that, please. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I've already gotten like a dozen or so emails. I don't want you, if you want to be part of 8 a.m., please don't shift over to these other platforms. We need to get that fixed. The reason for it is it would be different if it was just one or two of you, but it's literally like 7 or 8 dozen. Don't do that. Just hold still for now. Stay cool for now. I know it's a bummer. Trust me, it's a bummer for me. Stay cool for now. It's all right. We're going to get that hashed out. We're going to get it worked out. I want your transactions to go through whatever crowdfunding platform I use, because I want them all to be cataloged and categorized. They have a big spreadsheet that you get when you're done and you get all your stuff together. And it makes it a whole lot easier. If everybody switches over to PayPal or Venmo or something, I would have to go back and manually go check. And if you make more than one payment, I got to go and see if I can manually find them and manually put them together. And it's more of a treasure hunt. So right now, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your, continued support with that. But if you want to be part of 8 a.m., don't switch over to another platform or something to do that right now. Just don't do that. You can contribute to the program as you regularly do. That's fine, but not for 8 a.m. But we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay. What comes next? I'm going to tell you what comes next. Because I feel it's incumbent on me. And like I say, look, the buck stops here. I asked, you all did everything you said you're going to do. The buck stops here. So what I'm going to do, for those of you who contributed, I've gone ahead and I've taken your information. I've got the information for those of you who contributed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a record of all of you. At some point, we're going to come back to this. When I'm sure I got enough buffer here and have a platform that's not going to be having issues, we're going to come back to this. I'm not going to jump back on the horse right now. We're going to come back to this because I want to make sure that I don't have any more issues. That's important. I was working on setting up the Indiegogo right up until we went live that evening. I was sitting there setting it up right up until then. So once again, if you're going to blame somebody, the buck stops here. The buck stops here. I was setting it up right up until we went online. So I just been very, very busy. I've been chopping up footage. I've been making phone calls. I've been this, that, and the other. There's a lot going on. So I've been dealing with a lot of things here. That's really no excuse, to be totally honest. It's no excuse. But I was working on things there. And in reality, I was working on that right up until that night when we did everything. So I want to make sure that there's not going to be an issue like that again. So before I do anything else, no last minute stuff, no being distracted on that. It's going to have to be done before I open the doors to anybody else. I cannot assume that everything's going to go a certain way. I can't assume that. So that's going to be the issue there. For everybody here if you say yours went through, you should. I've already contacted them. I haven't checked to see what the thing is doing here yet, but they've already been contacted to stop taking any more payments. Don't take any more payments because we got like 4 days. I know it says 3. We got like 4 days left, and usually you get a flood of because everybody wants to wait till the last minute. But I don't trust it, and because I don't trust it, I'm not going to do anything else. I don't trust the last 4 days. Hell, I haven't trusted the last 2 weeks. But if the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks have been difficult, I have no reason to trust the last 4 days. So I'm not going to do that. So they've already been instructed. They've already been informed. They've already been told that I want them to go ahead and stop it. And then they should just refund everybody. They're going to be upset about that, but let them be upset. They don't like sending chargebacks. They can be upset. So, well, Michael, it depends on the quality of your stuff. That's very interesting. You can say that. It depends on the quality of your stuff. What you can do is if you have an Instagram, just a brief aside for Michael in the chat room, you say you got drone photography. It depends. If you have an Instagram, then just email me at handlethebusiness. Don't email me at the Black Authority, but email me at handlethebusiness@yahoo.com. Email me over there at that, and go ahead and do that instead. Okay. Christine asked, will I be able to get the money that has been donated? I turned it down. I rejected it. I'm not taking anything. No, I'm not taking a single penny, not a single red cent. All of you are going to get back what you gave. Yes, I understand this is inconvenience. It sure is for me. Yes, I understand that this is a complication. I understand that. I want to make sure that I get everybody cataloged and categorized correctly. I don't want anybody who wanted to contribute who is not able to. I don't want a bunch of folks sitting on the sidelines. That's what's been happening. I figured it was something I could manage. You all know me, I'm hard-headed. I figured it was something I could manage. When I thought it was just a few of you, I said, okay, I'll take care of these few individually. I'll just make a spreadsheet of my own and keep them there. When I saw the first couple of dozen come in, then I said, okay, we have a problem. So I just said, okay, at this point, since it didn't reverse anything or didn't change anything, I'm not going to go back and keep ringing the bell on that because people get tired of trying to process a payment and it doesn't work. And I understand why. They get tired of that. So I'm just saying, okay, screw it. If Indiegogo is not working or whatever the issue is, you know what? That's cool. Y'all haven't seen me fighting with Cash App and, oh boy, I wish they would do XYZ. If they don't do it, that's cool. I'll switch to something else. The people going to rock with me no matter what happens. The bottom line is real is only thing that matters. And the people going to rock with me no matter what happens. So it's cool. I'm okay with that. We're going to go to another platform, most likely. Most likely we're going to go to another platform. I'm going to go ahead and just get something different together. I've decided to do some different things here because I was actually working. I was actually in the middle. I was getting ready to upload today. I was getting ready to upload another clip from the film. I'm not going to say who it was, but I was getting ready to upload another clip from the film. I was working on that because they can be a bit of a difficult edit, but I was working on a few things there. And then I just finally was just like, yeah, let me just go. If I'm going to do it, let's just start over. I'm just going to start all over again. I can just start all over again. So just look for that to happen. But more importantly, now that we're 20 minutes in, Yeah, Angel, I know. Yeah, I know. That's yeah, I know. This is I don't have I obviously have suspicions about what occurred, the same thing that's been occurring. Look, they're gonna mess with us, man. They're gonna mess with us. They're gonna mess with us. Look, your enemies are on Facebook. My enemies are in the White House, dude. I mean, I'm not being hyperbolic. The Democratic National Committee and all, those are my adversaries. The people who make the banking laws and the banking regulations. Y'all talk about COINTELPRO as a historical anecdote. I talk about it as my life. I don't like going through airports. I have not been set foot in an airport in 7-8 years. Haven't set foot in one because every time I go through there, I get yanked out of line. So, is that just coincidence? Hell no. I'm one of them. When I got my passport renewed, it took 8 months and they didn't give me back all of my documents. Now explain that. They sent back my social security card, my birth certificate. They didn't return any of the other documents. They kept all the other documents. So explain that. Explain how that occurred. Look, it's the same old game, man. It's the same old game. They want to know who you are, what you're doing, if you're getting something popping. They used to send agents, and there's still plenty of agents around, by the way, but they used to send agents to come mess up what the Panthers were doing and the Nation of Islam was doing. They used to send agents there to go mess up folks and start internal conflicts and all that old kind of mess. That's what they used to do. They still do the same thing. It hasn't changed. It has not changed. It is still the exact same thing. This is the exact same thing. Look, one day, Dejan, hey, Negro, you hadn't emailed me yet, man. Anyway, look, one day, all of this is going to come out, okay? One day, all of this is going to come out. Rodney, I still get around. Enough said. There's a reason why I don't discuss things like traveling abroad. There's a reason why I don't do that. Just understand this. I move around. But like I say, you got to think differently. So it's. I want to make sure that you all understand. One day this is all going to come out. One day, most likely when I'm dead and gone. Your kids are going to get the real story of what happened. They're going to get some declassified documents or some leaked documents that are going to explain all these things. Maybe we won't have to wait till we dead. Take a look. We just getting information about Malcolm X's assassination. 60 years later, we just getting information about that. Come on now. We are just getting information today about Malcolm X's assassination. Just now. And Benjamin Crump got to file lawsuits. The fellows who killed him been walking around New York for decades. We just now getting documents and getting folks saying, hey, the government, the New York Police Department, not just the FBI or the feds, not just J. Edgar Hoover, the New York Police Department was involved. We just now getting that. 60 years later. 60 years later. So what I'm telling y'all is this is reality. One day they're going to release some big ass file with my name on it and all the people that I've met, including people that I met in person. And you tell yourself, well, nobody knows because I showed them in person. Dude, they know everywhere you going. They know every damn where you going. Yourself, y'all understand something. It is legal through the FISA court. Do you all understand? It is legal for them to track your cell phones, to track your car. It doesn't matter what your car is. Your car got a computer in it. Remember, last week, the story just broke that General Motors is monitoring people's driving. They're monitoring all this information. They doing that already. Come on now. And that's just general. Every car today has that kind of remote connectivity to it. It's not just Tesla. Every car today has the ability to monitor its location, to see where it is. In case y'all didn't know, every vehicle in America today that's got a computer in it, it's got the ability to track where it is. They know where your car is. If it's got electricity running through it, they can find it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. In the world today, if it's got electricity, they can find it. Rondé, not just OnStar. OnStar is the obvious culprit, but it isn't just OnStar. Jason, what do you mean by that? Because to communicate with OnStar, the car has to have a modem. OnStar is just the service that the modem connects to. In order for your car to communicate with OnStar, if you got OnStar, if you got Lincoln Way, if you got Mercedes Me, if you've got Lexus, whatever their app is, if you got that Tesla app, you all have to think different than that. The service it communicates to, like Tesla, that's just a service. It needs a phone, a modem in the car to communicate with the service. So it doesn't matter whether it's OnStar or something else. OnStar is just the one that's built into the vehicle. The modem in the car is the device that does the talking and the communication. Icy Kitty, you hopped ahead of me here. We're going to come back to that in just a moment. But the modem is the device in the car that does the actual talking. Justin, what you just said right there is dead on the money. Yes, your passport and anything that has a chip in it is trackable. It sure is. Those of you who got pets and you got them trackers on them, they've been microchipped and everything else. Yeah, if it's got a chip in it, it can be tracked. They don't have that for no reason. They have it for a reason. That's why they don't want you having fake driver's licenses. Your fake driver's license doesn't have something in it they can track. People, if it's got that, it's got it. The infotainment system, that's two-way. Anything in the car that does two-way communication. Your infotainment system does two-way communication. It's basically a cell phone. It's basically an iPad in the middle of your car. It really is. It's an iPad in your car. So they can do all of that. Icy Kitty talked about the cameras. I'm very glad that Icy Kitty talked about the cameras, because cameras on our electronic devices are very deceptive. You assume that if you don't see the phone blinking blue, or if you don't see the phone showing you a picture of yourself, that your cell phone camera is not on. Ever since the very first iPhone, they let you know, oh no, we can turn on the camera without ever changing the screen. The screen doesn't have to change for the camera to be on. Guess what? Same thing with your Mercedes, same thing with your Tesla, same thing with your BMW, same thing with your Cadillac. They can turn on the cameras on those things without you ever knowing. Vehicles today are not automobiles. Vehicles today are computers with the ability to roll around. Please understand that. Cars today are not automobiles. Cars today are mobile computing devices. Yes, the police have every bit of information they need to solve any crime they wish to. If they have not solved yours, it is because they're not trying to. If they haven't solved yours, it's because they're not trying to. So please understand, those are the kind of things that can happen. And this is where we're at today. This is where we are. We're not on our way. Look, people, do you really think they gonna just give it to us? What? Do y'all really think they gonna just give us liberation and empowerment? Do you really think they just gonna hand it over? I've been saying this for over a decade and a half. They killed our fathers and our mothers for less than we are all talking about doing right now. Less than this. What did Medgar Evers do to get himself killed? They killed our fathers and our mothers for less than what I'm doing right now. Less than that. So when you understand that and you accept that as an empirical reality, did you really think they was going to just give it? Come on, man. Take a look at what they're doing to Russia and anybody else they don't like. What does the United States government do to an entity, a nation, or whatever? What does the United States government do if you're somebody that they have hostilities towards, but shooting you with a gun isn't really an option? What does the United States government do? What do they do? Come on, y'all, take a look at all these nations, all these activists, all these revolutionaries, all these foreign entities and all these foreign powers. What do they do when they start hostilities towards you, but shooting at you isn't an option? Thank you, Tony. Sanctions. They sanction you. They say, okay, let's cut off their money. Let's cut off the funds. If they're asking for money somewhere, stop it. Wherever they want money, stop it. When they went after bin Laden, remember? They didn't go after bin Laden with guns first, remember? For those of you who are old enough, after 9/11, did they go after bin Laden with guns first? No. Even though Afghanistan is dirt poor, they started talking about where's the money? Stop the money. Wherever they got money or financial holdings, go after that. We can go after that immediately. Stop their ability to fund themselves. Because what they have been taught and accepted is that if you're unable to fund yourself, you're unable to defend yourself. Bayou Billy, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that.
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all time.
He wants to make sure everybody gets mobbed up. So look, folks, I want you to understand that's what it is. Why do you think our businesses get targeted? They target the money, man. They target the money. The first thing they attack is the money. If they have a way of stopping you from getting $1, that's the first thing they do. Get rid of the money. When the feds or the state come after you, people, what is asset forfeiture? What is asset forfeiture? Asset forfeiture is cutting off the money. They sit up here and try to grab your assets or anything you could use to defend yourself. They sit up here and grab that first. They grab your bank accounts. So that they grab your bank accounts and then they indict you. They grab your bank account and then they indict you. Well, how can you defend yourself if they indict you? And they froze your assets. Well, if they took your bank account money and said you can't have access to your bank account, how are you supposed to defend yourself? Answer, you're not. I'm white and I say so. We're going to take your assets first and you don't have any money to buy a lawyer, and now we're going to indict you. Well, wait a minute, you took my money. How do I pay for a lawyer with no money? Oh, this public defender will do you nice. This public defender will do you nice. So I just want y'all to understand. I want y'all to understand what we're dealing with. Look, I know it's been 6 years since we made an outing, but hey, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. With as many, look, I got Mahmoud Abdul Rauf in my film. Come on, man. As defiant as he ever was. I have Mahmoud Abdul Rauf in my film, as defiant as he's ever been. Do you take a look at the lineup of people I got in my film with the questions y'all heard me asking? This is not supposed to be out in the consciousness. Hell no. Look, all of us are supposed to be sitting here figuring out how we can make a twerk video. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be figuring out how to organize cat videos, internet gossip, chasing celebrities, bull jiving around, swinging your butt cheeks, making a rap video. We're supposed to be trying to figure out how to do that. We're not supposed to be discussing this over here. We're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to be discussing the nuts and bolts. We're supposed to be distracted along with everybody else, and we're not. And we're not. And plus, we're not boulayed up. We're not old men up. We're not elderly. We didn't have to go through the corporate media system. We did not have to go through the corporate media apparatus. We're not free agents. We're free radicals. Damn! I want y'all to understand that. We are not free agents. We're free radicals. This government would not stand as strong as it has, if it's not able to identify a real damn threat real damn quick when it sees one. So the conversations we have, hey, y'all, we ain't supposed to talk like that. We supposed to be like the other folks sitting around McDonald's bull jiving. That's what we're supposed to be doing. When they tune in for half a second and see, oh, they talking about something real. Hey, go shut that down over there. Hey, go get them some hassles, get them some problems. And then when you start having some legal folk contact them, it's like, okay, all of a sudden they don't want to play around anymore. Some want to hang in harder and longer than others. Okay, understood. I'm not 1,000% happy with the legal community right now, but that's a different matter. Every once in a while, I can get them to do something they're supposed to be doing, and then, okay, some things start turning. But like I said, I feel like we should have a whole lot more done than we do. A whole lot more done. So I just wanted to give that explanation to you all that, yes, if the buck stops with me, you all were trying to tell me when the crowdfunding started, you all were trying to tell me. And I was just outdated on it, and it is what it is, You all were trying to tell me, hey, you got it. You got it. So, look, we're going to fall back. We're going to regroup. We're going to go ahead and make sure we do this damn thing right. They're not going to stop us. It's okay. Too many of y'all want to see this. Too many of y'all are ready to see this. And you know something? I sat there and I think to myself, because here's the way I operate. When somebody tries to throw an obstacle in the way, when they try to get dirty about it, I don't think, how can I do the same thing? I think, how can I do something different? That's what I think. I don't think how I can do the same thing. I think about, how can I do something different? And I've had a chance over the course of the last week when I decided what I was going to do, because I've already decided what I'm going to do. Look, I have to debut it for you all. I already know what I'm going to do. I already know. Jason doesn't sound worried because I already know what I'm going to do. I've already decided what I'm going to do. I've already decided how I'm going to do it. And what I've decided is, if we're going to redo the damn thing, if we're going to do that, then why don't we sweeten the pot? If I'm going to do it like that, if we're going to go ahead and break it back down to the foundation and start over again, why don't I sweeten the pot? In Louisiana, we have a term called lagniappe, little something extra. So I've decided that I want to do something to sweeten the pot. So tomorrow night, let me see about that date there right quick. What was that date? Okay, probably tomorrow night. Definitely this weekend beyond the shadow of a doubt, but probably tomorrow night, I have an announcement I want to make for 8 a.m. I'm going, for everybody here, for the crowdfunding and whatnot, and for 8 a.m. period. It's not just the crowdfunding, but it's all my real ones were on the crowdfunding. I appreciate that because y'all know, look, this is what it is. Lip service is not service. The people who put their money where their mouths are, everybody who contributes, everybody who's a member, even the haters, but everybody who does that, they for real. They're for real. Show me what a man spends his money on and I'll show you what he believes in. So to all my real ones, I know you've been inconvenienced. Hey, this is Jason you talking about. So I feel like it's incumbent on me, since I got to take responsibility. I'm not even going to say partial responsibility. I got to do that. Monica, I think I have something better in mind. I think I have something different, but I think I got something better than that in mind. So what I want you to do, Monica, and everybody else, but you particularly, Monica, I want you to come back. When I make my announcement, I want you to tell me if you think whether you'd like to have a mug or whether you'd like to have what I'm going to offer you. So look for us to go ahead and do that this weekend. If I don't get to it specifically tomorrow, I will definitely get to it Sunday. Want to make sure all the pieces are in place, but no, I plan on blowing some things out the water. So if we got to go ahead and do that, it's cool. It's great. It's okay. Look, remember when 7 a.m. first came out on Amazon, Amazon didn't let me get through the first 12 hours. Remember? We had only taken orders for 12 hours before Amazon shut it down. Remember? We had only been going for 12 hours before Amazon shut it down. Think about that for a few moments. Yeah, Monica, I know folks were upset. I had more than a few people who said, hey, where's the Meet the Director? Where's the Meet the Director? You did it on all your other films. Where's the Meet the Director? But let's see if I got a better idea in mind. Don't be surprised. Maybe I got something better. Okay, they're like, Jason say maybe, isn't that's a guarantee. All right, we'll see. We'll see. But hey, look, enough about that right now. We got work to do. We're going to go ahead and get to that. We're going to go ahead and get around to that. Speaking of which, I would be remiss if I didn't go ahead and deal with this. Well, before I do anything else here, let me give a shout out here to everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program. We appreciate that. Asar Anafris, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. We got a bunch of new members in here tonight. So we have a lot of new members in the chat room. And let me tell you, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate that because you all are the unsung heroes in this equation. You know, you're the unsung heroes. I've tried to live that mantra. I've never wanted attention. I don't want it now. Never do. I'm all right with things the way it is. I live by the words of Dr. John Henry Clark, bury the man and continue the plan. I don't go around clout chasing, attention whoring. You know, the FBI hates people like me because they can't play on my ego. They can't offer me anything. They can't offer me fortune and fame. They hate that. But you know what I really love? They can't really do that with the rest of you either. My soul's not for sale, and you all are not for sale either. So I want to take this as an opportunity here tonight while I'm waxing nostalgic over some of this stuff here. I want to take an opportunity to acknowledge each and every one of you because what you do is difficult, man. What you do is difficult. Y'all got people, you got bills, you got negative family pressure. A lot of you could be here this evening getting ready for Easter Sunday. A lot of you could. And you know what? The very fact that you are here means something. That means something. The very fact that you've shown up here to do that. That's the kind of thing that makes a difference. If you want to know why it is that we made progress in the middle of the 20th century, it was because you had a dedicated group, a small but hardcore dedicated group of individuals that no matter what, they were determined to keep working at it. If you want to know why that progress stalled after that, it was because you had too big of a group of people. Let me explain something, y'all. The civil rights movement got too big. The civil rights movement got too big. When the civil rights movement was smaller and it was just Dr. King or it was just Elijah Muhammad, when you had a small core of elite individuals, that's when the momentum was rolling. When you talk about Rosa Parks was not the result of some large movement of people. It was a few smart individuals who concocted a legal strategy that they could take to the Supreme Court. That was a small group of individuals. When they were small, we were good. When they bought off Thurgood Marshall, and I'm saying bought off by he was no longer working, and I understand it. I understand it. I get that. But when you have a Thurgood Marshall and they saw how effective he was, and they said, you know what? We can't kill him and we can't cut his money off. Folks, I mean, follow me. Is all the logic lining up or is it not? From what I told you, this is the same. Okay, this nigga getting too much done. We want to cut off his money. And remember, they threatened him and everything else. There were attempts on his life. Don't get me wrong. There were attempts on his life. But Thurgood Marshall, when they saw we can't kill him and we can't get him to stop doing what he's doing and we can't cut off the money, they said, well, what would Thurgood Marshall, a lawyer, what would he value more than being a civil rights attorney? And they said, got it. Offer him a seat on the Supreme Court. Make him a Supreme Court justice. They said he'll go for it. What lawyer doesn't dream of being on the Supreme Court? I mean, look, and it makes sense because obviously what would he say to himself? We spent all those decades trying to get cases in front of the Supreme Court. If I'm on the Supreme Court, I will be one of the justices who can approve if a case comes before the court. I will be one of the Supreme Court justices who gets to decide if a case is heard. People, I didn't say if a case goes to trial. I mean, if the case is even accepted on the docket. As a Supreme Court justice, he gets to decide that. In case y'all didn't know, individual Supreme Court justices can choose a case and say, okay, the full court is going to hear this. One justice, if their clerk brings it to them and the justice says, okay, this is going to come, I am bringing this before the other members of the court. So obviously Thurgood Marshall would think, okay, hey, I'm going to be in a much more advantageous position now. We're no longer on the outside looking in. I'm on the inside looking around. Hey, I don't fault the logic. And here's the issue. The reason why that was so devastating is because we didn't have another Thurgood Marshall to step up after him, and the bad guys knew it. The reason that it was so devastating is because there wasn't another Thurgood Marshall waiting in the wings so that when Thurgood elevated, that other person could step in and he'd be, Thurgood's on the court, we got a valid point man on the street, now we're getting things done. And we haven't had it since. CORE, the Urban League, the NAACP, you name it. None of them have done anything. None of them moved. After it was over, none of them moved. None. So that's what happened. They're used to having the ability to buy you off, to distract you, to say, okay, let me place you over here. It probably didn't occur to Thurgood Marshall. By the way, if they've been fighting us all this damn time, why are they so eager to give me a Supreme Courtship? What's going on? And when that happened, the movement got too big. You didn't have a small core of dedicated people who their only goal was making that kind of progress. You didn't have that anymore. And once you lost that, it was over. And we have been in the process of rebuilding this ever since. It's a damn shame. Oh, I'm going to remind you all, it's a damn shame that we've had two Johnsons. Robert Johnson, Bob Johnson, Ebony Publications, Black Enterprise. We have had all these folks here want to run around bragging. See, this is what happens when you're dealing with the old niggas.
Nigga, please.
They said, think about that for just a few moments, folks. Bob Johnson, who was the second black billionaire, the second one. Do y'all remember? He was going around strutting. I want you all to understand. Think back about this for a moment. He was going around strutting. Remember? Johnny Cochran was from Shreveport. Nuff said. Nuff said. We incubate riders. Nuff said. But, dude, come on now. They make sure about that. They make sure about that. Understand what you're really looking at there. We haven't had anybody to go ahead and do that till we get here now, because Bob Johnson was too busy strutting, and every time they said black billionaire, he was too busy strutting. Y'all remember him? He coming out in his big long suits and wanting to sit next to Oprah and on MSNBC and yeah, first black billionaire. Actually, the second. Black billionaire. Black billionaire. Remember that? Come on now. How many of y'all remember that? Hillary Clinton running for president and Bob Johnson was sitting up there, peacocking, flexing. Yeah, black billionaire, that's me. See, that's the kind of nigga they like. They like that. He ain't trying to change a damn thing except to get you to focus on him and pat him on the back and tell him how great he is so he can sit up here and strut in front of you and flex what he got and flex his title. That's why they like that. That's why they like that. They like that because you ain't no threat. They already know what you want. All you want is a title and some attention. In the words of Dr. John Henry Clarke, we are cursed with the disease of ego starvation. We are cursed with the disease of ego starvation. And John H. Johnson was no different. Let's just go ahead and put it on the bricks. John H. Johnson was no different. John H. Johnson just wanted to slam some Cadillac doors and stack some hoes, and that was it. And when Bob Johnson came to him, he didn't want to do nothing with Bob Johnson because he was scared that he would no longer hold that title. That's what he was worried about. He was worried that he would no longer be able to hold that title. That shows you what the hell they was working for. I have literally gotten hundreds and hundreds of people raised up here. I ain't never tried to sit up here and hold nobody back on nothing. If you got a chance to run the ball better than me, I'm sliding you the ball. If you need to get gamed up, we throwing you the game. Here's the issue that we tend to have. Now, I'm going to say this. I am going to say this part. There's a whole bunch of y'all who treat things the way you do your alma mater at them bummy ass HBCUs.
Auntie, chill.
What? Let me go ahead and lay that on you real quick. There's a whole bunch of y'all who, unfortunately, you tend to treat it like that. I want y'all to understand something. And we're going to come back to this repeatedly. You can complain about TD fakes in the black church all you want to. You can complain about Joel Osteen till your hair starts to fall out. You can complain about Creflo Dollar till you got 2 cents. But the bottom line is none of that matters because their people are committed. And by committed, I mean when they show up at the church, they bring the bag. When they show up at the church, they bring the bag. You can complain about Harvard and Yale, and some of you who I've talked to, you had hell getting into those schools. And we can complain about that all we want to, but Harvard's endowment is stout. The endowments of the Ivy Leagues are stout. Let me explain something else here. Jackson State is not some Ivy League university. You've had some black folk who done made it in Mississippi, and yet Jackson State is still there. The reason why Jackson State was not ready for Deion Sanders is because Jackson State's alumni did not see it as essential that they take over Jackson State. They got their degree and then they got the hell on. And that's the difference. You can't build an institution when you're looking in the mirror. You can't build an institution looking in the mirror. Too many other folk want to follow John Johnson and Bob Johnson and Tyler Perry's example and Oprah Winfrey's example. There's the real problem they got to stop. You make sure you're good. You make sure you're all right. So you can go ahead. Well, Jason, thank you for helping me do XYZ. Let me go buy a BMW. No, nigga, no. Don't get me wrong. There's a place and a time for that right there. But too many folk, that's the damn life goal, is to do that. So they can go flex and go be seen somewhere. And it's like, okay, who you trying to be seen by? So there'll be a bunch of folks who'll be nodding their heads in agreement right now. You sure right about John Johnson and Bob Johnson. And meanwhile, you sitting there doing the same damn thing. You're sitting there doing the same damn thing. So I want to remind you that's a critical key point here. You can complain about the Kyle Rittenhouse supporters, the George Zimmerman supporters, the church supporters, the Yale supporters. You can sit up here and complain about them all you want to, but until we get as structured. Oh yes, let me go ahead and say this. Oh, I'm going to say this in front of everybody here tonight. And if it upsets you, oh well, it's going to upset you. You can complain about Jewish people all you want to. It doesn't make you right. They get on code. And what they understood is the code is dollars. Yeah, you got some of them running their mouths, but they didn't come empty-handed. They didn't come empty-handed or with empty pockets. They understand if you're going to go to war, you got to bring the bag. You can sit up here and complain about Bob Johnson and John Johnson all damn day and Tyler Perry all damn day. Hey, look here. When these folks get together, and they ain't millionaires like that, but when they get together, the first thing they say is, hey, who collecting the bag? Who can I send $1 to? Who's collecting the bag? They don't even talk. Oh yeah, one more thing. The little bum ass who's sitting over there and brought their mouth and no money, them folks ain't talking to him. On account of the fact he's not ready to do anything except look around and drain their resources. He ain't looking to do nothing but sit around and drain their resources. You want to know why they support the ADL? For all the slow bus kids who get mad at Jewish people, let me tell you, they protect their self-interest very well. Jewish people protect their self-interest very well. The Anti-Defamation League is a juggernaut for Jewish interests. You got to give credit where credit is due. The Anti-Defamation League rides for Jewish people to the point that they're doing exactly what I told you all a decade ago. They are saying that you can't even mention the word Jewish. They don't even want you to say the word Jewish. If they say Jewish, that's okay. They don't even want you to say the word Jewish in any context. They're now trying to tell you that saying the word Jewish in any context is anti-Semitic. And the ADL is sitting right there backing them. Anti-Semitic means whatever we say it means today. Man, they riding for their people. Yeah, it sounds crazy and it's all this, that, and the other, but they riding for them. They riding for them. How am I supposed to get mad at that? You think I'm supposed to get angry with that? They riding for them. Meanwhile, our so-called black organizations won't even say the word black. So I'm supposed to get mad at the ADL because they ain't bull jiving like all these so-called black organizations? What the hell? Come on now. Come on. Come on. As black people, we made our biggest strides when black millionaires were passing the bag. Madam C.J. Walker and all the others. When black folk were doing that in the 60s, you had your black performers, James Brown and Jackie Wilson and the rest of them. You had your black performers supporting what we do. That's important, man. That's important. That tells you you're on code when that happens, man. That tells you you're on code. That's the kind of thing we're supposed to have. That's the kind of thing we're supposed to have when you've got your millionaire class supporting what you're doing. That's the business. That's the business. You got them supporting what you're doing. That's what you're supposed to have, man. You're supposed to have that. A group who, when the folk who are funded get behind this stuff, that's when things start moving and happening. Candace Owens has gotten shut down because them folks already had their money together, their organization together. They had a mouthpiece organization that was going to defend their interests. And then that was it. They went for it. That's how you get it done. Take a look at Ed Blum and his white supremacist movement. He got together with Asians and said, okay, this is going to be the strategy. We got our money together. We got our legal people together. We riding for white folk. All right, get them Asians out front so we can ride for white folk. That's how it gets done. But you gotta have true believers. You gotta have true believers, man. You have to have true believers. If you don't have true believers, you got a problem. Everybody out here trying to be every man for himself. If you don't have true believers, it doesn't work because eventually they will come after you. Ain't that right, Diddy?
What?
Oh, I'm going there. Oh, it's time to go there. Yeah, it is. And what you are about to witness is an abject, look it up. What you are about to witness is a clear and objective example of what happens when you tell yourself for an extended period of time, I'm not black, I'm Diddy. My money needs to go towards slamming Cadillac doors and stacking hoes and buying all the clothes. And I want you all to understand the picture that you see on your screen right now, for those of you who are watching us live, the picture on your screen right now. Take a look at that picture. If you walked him across the room to go do the dishes, come on back for a minute. Take a look at that picture on your screen right now. This specific picture, not just the one of him in the clothes, but this specific 4-frame picture right here, this is making the rounds. When you type in Diddy raid, this is making the rounds. They put this collage together and they like that picture in the middle. Take a look at that picture in the middle. All the folks who said, pull your pants up. Diddy pulled his pants up decades ago. All the folk who gave us the old nigga talk. The man has been investing, this, that, and the other. He told himself, just lay low, everything will be good. And found out one day they threw the I'm white and I say so on him. Will someone tell me if sex trafficking is a crime, when is the Department of Homeland Security gonna show up at Vince McMahon's house?
What?
That's the first question I gotta ask y'all. Hey, by the way, Vince McMahon, the CEO of a publicly traded company, He got women all over the damn place coming out saying, hey, me too. So just a question, just for me, when is the Department of Homeland Security, who has apparently taken off time from hunting Middle Eastern terrorists, they've taken off time to go get Diddy, but Vince McMahon is still prancing around? When did they do the raid on Harvey Weinstein's place? When did they do the raid there? No, tell me about the raid at all their properties. Tell me about the raid that they executed, that Department of Homeland Security executed at all their properties. Let me explain to you all, for those of you who don't understand what you're looking at and what's going on. Folks, before now, ask yourselves a question. And this dovetails off what I'm talking about here tonight, but I want to take a moment here to game you all up. Ask yourselves a question, people. How much did the federal government know about Sean Combs' personal life before they got this bogus ass warrant to go raid his property? Tell me, how much did they know? I'm talking about the specific details, how he lived, what he got. Tell me, how much did they know? They may have suspected a lot, but these bogus warrants they got gave them something they never had before. They now had permission to kick in his front door and go snoop around everything. This is the first time ever that they had the ability and the authority to kick in his front door and go pick through his life. I want y'all to understand that was and is the real goal. Having that warrant, they said, why go at just one property? Let's make it an expansive warrant and let's go look at everything. Let's just go look into everything he's got. We can go through his personal items, his personal belongings. Please remember, people, all the information about Tiger Woods' girlfriends didn't come out until after that incident with his wife, remember? After that, I think, did he get a DUI that night? And it was only after that that all of a sudden all this personal business about him started flooding out. Did you get that? That's not accidental. Michael Jackson, same thing. Once these folks got them kind of powers, they go picking through everything. They don't just look at one thing. It's like, okay, now that we got authority, let's look at it. Look, folks, for example, there's a reason why if you get pulled over by the police, there are attorneys who tell you, don't open the window all the way. Just crack the window and say, hello, can I help you? Let me tell y'all right now, coming down through Georgia, coming down through Arkansas, coming down through Missouri, I've been pulled over by the police. I've been pulled over by the police. They come up on the passenger side. Now, when you got a full-size SUV, there's like 5-6 feet between you and the damn other window. Well, when they come to the driver's window, they stand back by 2 or 3 feet. But when they come on the passenger side, he had his arms leaned all up inside my truck. I'm talking about this has happened to me in 6 states. 6. When they walk up on the driver's side, they stand 2 or 3 feet back. But when they come up on the passenger side, they lean all up in the truck. And then they try to take a quick glance around. How many of you have had that happen to you, including my truck drivers? How many of you have had that happen to you? If you have, give me the eyeball emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's almost 4,000 people in here live. But if you've experienced that where you got a vehicle and if they were on the driver's side, they would be standing back. But if they walk up on the passenger side, they want to lean all up on your car and poke their head all in on your car. If I'm the only one who's experienced that, okay, I guess I'm the only one who's ever experienced that. But if you've experienced that, give me the eyeball emoji. Okay, I thought it was just me for a moment. I thought it was just me for a minute. Yeah, when they pull up on you, because you all know the law. Y'all know the law. Pulling you over is a pretext. The Supreme Court has said that once they pull you over, if they find anything, quote, incidental, even if it was not related to why they pulled you over, oh, that's fair game. If they walk in your house and see something illegal, that's fair game. So if they pull you over, do I smell something funny? Do I hear something funny? Do I see something funny? So as soon as they pull you over, they start looking for more stuff. They start looking to see if we see something else we can get. Look, let me show you something. Let me show y'all something because some of y'all just don't understand what's really going on. This was from Fox Live. Now, I want you to listen to what the commentator says here. Now, this was from a few days ago when they were raiding the house and everybody talking about where was Diddy. And it doesn't matter where Diddy was. He wasn't under arrest. It doesn't matter where he was. But I want you to listen to what he says here.
A personal library as well. I want to put this tweet up here. That's the TMZ video. Airport there in Miami. And then we got video TMZ obtained inside the Holmby Hills mansion. And you could see so much of his kind of personal items strewn about in what looked like a bedroom and what looked like kind of a personal library as well. I want to put this tweet up here. That's the TMZ video that we found. I believe this was obtained by them Monday night of Diddy kind of just loitering and lingering there. So it seems like he's on the phone outside of Miami's.
Now, did you hear that?
What?
He's kind of just loitering. People walk around, people mope around the damn airport. Oh, he's kind of just loitering. You don't even know why he's there. They're just going to make your existence illegal. He's kind of just loitering. He's kind of just loitering. Now, think about that for a few moments. Loitering? Y'all got illegal aliens over here by the tens of millions, but Diddy is loitering? So Diddy is loitering. All right, let me go ahead and show you some more.
Airport as well. So let's get the latest on this yet again. We've been relying on the really intrepid reporting of legal affairs journalist Megan Cuniff. We're going to bring her in just a moment. That's the video, remember, of inside of the Holmby Hills mansion. And you can see just really how investigators and agents really kind of tore through this room there, kind of trying to find what they were looking to find as part of this investigation. So they kind of
You see this? I mean, they like, damn your kids, damn your toys. We looking through your drawers. We looking through your underwear. We gonna see if we can count them up. I mean, they're not looking for sex trafficking. They're looking for anything else they can find, and they'll never have another opportunity to go rummaging through his personal belongings. So if there's anything else they can find, they rummaging for that. If you want to know where blackmail stuff comes up from, see, they used to be able to just kick in our doors and stuff anytime they wanted to. Now they got to come up with an excuse for it. So like, oh, we're not going to just look at one place. We're going to look everywhere. Now we're just going to look your whole damn life over. By the way, when y'all going to go look under Vince McMahon's bedroom sheets? He got a few holes up under there. When y'all going to go look at that? When y'all going to come look at that? Now, let me explain a little bit more to you all for those who might not understand. During the raid, some people who don't understand how that kind of thing works, yeah, there was a warrant, but the warrant was on the house, not for a person. It's for an investigation. Well, Jason, why did they bring his kids out in handcuffs? Because his children were not under arrest. They were, quote, being detained.
Damn!
His kids were not under arrest. And if Diddy were there, he wouldn't have been under arrest either, but they would have been detained. Remember when they pulled Dr. Dre over because a white man said, oh, he had a gun, and they still have not gone back to go arrest that white man for making a false report? They didn't do that, but they put Dr. Dre in handcuffs. So remember, if you get pulled over by the police, if they are, quote, detaining you, yeah, they can handcuff you. If you're being detained, yeah, they can detain you with handcuffs. Yes, and not arrest you. No, you're not under. Come on, how many of you, folks, we got YouTube. How many of you seen those YouTube videos? Lawyers explain this to you every day. Yes, you can be detained, which means you can also be handcuffed without being arrested. Just because you are in handcuffs does not mean you are being arrested. And just because you are not free to go doesn't mean you're being arrested either. So the court system has created this gray area called detainment. Oh, you're not arrested, you're being detained. Like after school, detention. Yeah, you're being detained. Detained, this damn sure feels like arrest to me. No, you're just being detained. And then when they finish violating your rights, okay, we're going to take these detention handcuffs off of you. So for those of you who don't know, why is it people will show up with guns? Why is it they show up with the kids, but Diddy is not being arrested? They didn't show up to arrest anybody. They showed up to execute a search warrant, like on Law and Order. And they're detaining you, quote, to make sure you don't interfere with the investigation. So they didn't tell his kids that they were free to go. They're going to say, oh, we got to search y'all to make sure that you're not making off with any evidence. We have to search all of you, and we can't let you leave because you might abscond with some evidence. So all of you need to sit over here in some handcuffs until we decide that you've been here long enough. So for those of you who don't know how the system works in this regard, that's why. No, there's no arrest. Now, whether he gets arrested at some point in the future, don't know. But that raid was not to arrest him. All the folk talking about where is Diddy, it doesn't matter where he is. He's not under arrest. They caught up with Diddy the same day. For those of you who remember, there was video. The authorities caught up with Diddy that day. With folks lying and talking about he was trying to get out the country. That man wasn't out the country. He was still there. With the news trying to lie and say, oh, he's not on the run from a damn thing. They caught up to him that day. Folks, they got his cell phone. They know where he is. If he were a criminal on the run, they could track with Homeland Security. They know exactly where his phone is. They know exactly where he is. They caught up to Diddy that day. Ain't nobody arresting him. What they told him is you can't go back to the house. We don't have a search warrant, or at least I don't know if they had a search warrant for the vehicle he was in, but they're letting him know, you can't go back. Okay, we caught up to you. You can't go back to the house. That's what they let him know. You can't go back to the house. But to people who are trying to look suspicious, it looks real suspicious and real weird. No, for a search warrant, they were just letting him know, you can't go back to the house. We're searching the house. You can't go back. But it looks all kinds of crazy because he's surrounded by 6 police officers. 6 Homeland Security folk with bulletproof vests and fatigues telling you, we're searching your house, you can't go back to the house. Then a few simple-minded folk take a look at that. Ooh, did he caught up? And let me be clear, on the record, I am not a Diddy fan. Never had to be. Never needed to be. I don't have to be. I'm not a white supremacy fan. Now, we can talk about what Diddy deserves or does not deserve later. But the bottom line is, by the way, this isn't legit. This is not legit. Show me where they're treating everybody like this. Well, that's the problem right there. That's the problem, Jason. You don't understand. See, Diddy out here, he be doing wrongs. He be sitting up here letting folks, he be taking them girls home and doing whatever he do with them. Are you kidding me? Understand something here, and I'm going to get off into a little bit of the black book right now. You want to talk about policing black men's sexual behavior? Leo DiCaprio can lay up with anything and everything, anywhere and everywhere, and ain't nobody said a damn word to him about that. He can do what he want to do. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, any of your Hollywood white male celebrities, they can do whatever they want to do with whoever they want to do it with. Nobody's sitting up here trying to police them. So now you're trying to tell people that sex with a black male of any kind is now a crime? I mean, what happened to my body, my choice?
Auntie, chill.
Now you're telling us Charlie Sheen, oh, you don't even want to know what's happening there. You don't even want to know what's happening with Charlie Sheen. So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight now. Now you're telling us that any sex with a black man is criminalized. Any sex with a black male is criminalized. So now anything a black male does sexually is too much. Folks, that's why they're going after Kanye, talking about, oh man, are you doing mind control on your wife? What they're saying is you got too much sexual control. We see black men with sexual control as a threat. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. They are now telling you that any sexual activity from a black male where he is exercising control, oh, that's a threat. That's a threat. Oh no, this is the 21st Century Man Act. This is the Black Man Act. They are literally telling you all that any sexual activity with a black male is criminal. Tiger Woods found that out the hard way. Why were all his side chicks and whatnot worthy of even mentioning? Because your unforgivable blackness. They have yet to name all the females that Vince McMahon was doing all that stuff with. They're going to tell you that don't matter. But with Diddy, oh, it's sex trafficking. Well, isn't Vince being accused of the same thing? Yeah, well, that's different. How the hell is it different? How the hell is it different? How the hell is that different? I want y'all to understand what you're looking at here, because I got to be honest for just a moment here. I just got to lay it down for just a minute. You see a whole bunch of black males. Yes, fellas, I'm talking about you. You see a whole preponderance of black males doing the most talking and the most squawking and the most gossiping and the most henpecking and the most hating on Diddy. And I want you to understand that's a stupid ass move. That's a dumb move. That's stupid. He done did more than me, and look at what he doing over there. Then good. I'm so glad they went and took him down to bed. And that's a stupid thing. White society doesn't do that. If black folk were arresting a white man, white society would not do that. Ain't that right, Fannie Willis? Ain't that right, Fannie Willis?
Auntie, chill.
No, let's stop with the bull jive. For some of you short bust, numbskull, bump brain Negroes here, by the way, if you tried that on a white man, if it was a courtroom full of black folk putting a white man on trial for his sexual activity, white society ain't gonna rise up as a group and back you. Even with Donald Trump, they're not backing her. She's on the verge of losing her law license. Because white folk took a look at that. A black female with black folk around her and black helpers, all they saw was a room, black, 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 black. And okay, we're going to do something to this white man. They said, okay, niggers, that's enough from you. That's enough for you. Yeah, they shut that down real quick, fast, and in a hurry, didn't they? Okay, that's enough for you. Yeah, see, they're not as short, simple-minded as some of you are right here, dealing with your single mother home antics here. They don't think like you. You don't see anybody else acting that way. You don't get to sit up here and do something bogus and you say, well, he shouldn't have did that. He shouldn't have did what? He shouldn't have had a menage a trois? So the white folk, I said it, the white folk who created this stuff, now you're saying it's illegal if a black man does it? And what in the hell is wrong with some of you folks up here talking about, well, Jason, he was sleeping with dudes. Number one, okay, it's not your cup of tea. It's damn sure not mine, but it's also not illegal. It is not illegal. Cassie is ashamed of what she did because she got sent back to square society without anything to show for it. Hey, baby, you rode the rolls, you rode the rails, you pay your money, you take your chances. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. That's it. So you had your turn. It's somebody else's turn. Welcome to Hollywood. They've been doing this since a century ago, from the very beginning of Hollywood. So how is it that Hollywood, the place that created gay group sex, how is it all of a sudden these are the same people saying that it's illegal now? So now it's illegal? How in the world is it illegal now? When did that start becoming illegal? Somebody explain that to me. So when did a gay man, allegedly, or at least in Diddy's case, definitely bisexual, since when did that become illegal in Hollywood? I thought that was the thing to do. Ain't that right, Ezra Miller? Doogie Howser. What's his name? Patrick, whatever his name is. Neil Patrick Harris. Since when has being bisexual, when did that suddenly become a jailable offense? Oh, when a black man with some money and some authority does it. Now, in the middle of the LGBT revolution, now they're telling you that being the B in LGBT, being the bisexual, you can't do that? Excuse me? I thought this was all legit. How Diddy does the same thing these white men doing, and y'all talking about, you can't do that there. Why? Because he was at the Mandarin Oriental? Pause. Jason, why you say that? Because I've been to the Mandarin Oriental. Pause. What? No, I was not with Diddy. I'm just afraid. I'm afraid I know that room. Moving right along. How is it the white men can do that and that's legit? Diddy shows up and all of a sudden it's a problem? Look here, I need black folks to think bigger than that. I need you to think bigger than that. No, you do not have to be Diddy's defense attorney. Nobody asked you. You're not smart enough to do that anyway, so don't sit up here and blow up your ego. Nobody asked you to be P. Diddy's defense attorney. Nobody asked you to do that. Nobody's expecting you to do that. But what I am doing is saying, hey, We don't go along with rules that they're using Diddy as a scapegoat for rules that they only execute against us. People, let me ask you a question. Since when was it illegal to be a bisexual man in America having group sex? For my folks who live in Hollywood and New York City, them rich folks and the white folk in Hollywood, don't they do that all the time? If the answer is yes, give me the check mark emoji in the chat room. For my folks who live in Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Santa Barbara, man, they do that all the damn time. That ain't new. Some of y'all who've been to college, you went to college with girls who got ran through by actors and white athletes. I'm talking about the cocaine was blowing, the liquor was flowing, and the hoes were hoeing. What? I got bars. Come on now, those of you who live in Los Angeles, you know you see that every day. Some of you work at some of these exclusive clubs and exclusive resorts where it goes down. Some of y'all work at these exclusive clubs and these exclusive joints where it goes down. Y'all see this. Y'all see these folk. Okay, it's been going on for damn me a century. How is it Diddy is out? What was Diddy doing with Cassie and the rest of them that the rest of these white folk ain't doing? Tell me, what was Diddy doing with them that the rest of these white folk ain't doing? Somebody explain to me, what was Diddy doing that the rest of these white men are not currently doing? What is it? Tell me what he was doing that was so different from them. Let me tell you something else. You want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein? I want y'all to understand Jeffrey Epstein is the only one who done disappeared. All of his clients who were down there dealing with them underage girls and boys, they all done locked up in lockstep and got on code now, haven't they? Jeffrey Epstein can't talk and the rest of them won't talk. And there's nobody trying to force them to talk either, by the way. There's nobody trying to force them to do it either, by the way. Ain't nobody trying to grab none of them white men and make them tell us the details of what they were doing. They can just make it go buck wild. A black male got a few females and a couple dudes together. And all of a sudden, oh, this is godless and unnatural. Oh, why are we ever, since when did that become illegal? Folks, come on now. Come on. No, let me tell you what happened with Diddy. Did you all notice that they're digging through Diddy's life and revealing the white people that Diddy has exercised power over? What? I meant what I said. How many of y'all missed that? Why is it that the white dude who they're calling Diddy's mule, which is crazy because he wasn't muling for Diddy at the time, why is it that the white dude is not getting that issue? Why is that? The white dude, all of a sudden they focusing on him. They didn't know about this before. Now, remember, please, everyone remember Michael Jackson, O.J. Simpson. Do you know what both of them had in common? Michael Jackson, they said, how dare you? We heard you got white kids over at your place and they're worshiping you. If you show that you've got control and influence in white society, that's when they come get you. O.J. Simpson, look at you and all these white women. Take a look at Kato Caitlin. You got white folk looking like you look rich and they look working class. O.J. Simpson, with the white folk he had around him, he looked like what he was, rich, and they looked working class. When you saw the optics of that with O.J. Simpson and all these white females around him and they treating him like a king and everything else, like, oh, hell no, you can't go kill one of the women too. Oh, no. Or at least allegedly, if anything happens to her, nigger, we coming for you. Whether you did it or whether you didn't. When you all hear about these black men who have, in the dominant society's opinion, an outsourced or outproportioned amount of control and influence with white folk, okay, we got to come get you. Hey, Kanye West, you got your wife's butt cheeks hanging out. Well, what about, you didn't have a problem with me with the black women doing it? Yeah, that's them, nigga. These are our women. Really? Because she ain't your woman when she's at my house. That's what happens next. When you are a black man and you start making public displays of white people having to acquiesce to you, they ain't good. Let me give you all an example. Let me give you an example right now, right here, live in front of all of you right now. I can't even name the movie, although I think I can. There's a movie where they were fans of Diddy. I want to say it was one of the Hangover movies. Was Diddy in one of the Hangover movies where they had the two white guys and the Asian dude or whatever? They were coming to him and he's sitting on the damn couch like Scarface and he's talking down to him. Was that Diddy in one of the Hangover movies? If it wasn't, what movie was that? But how many of you remember that? It was a movie Diddy that he's a big, nice house and these white guys are coming to him. They're trying to get something from him or he's putting them in their place about something. He's sitting on the couch, sitting there like Tony Montana. And he's just like, y'all need to do this and y'all need to do that. Y'all need to do this and y'all need to do that. Okay, get them to the Greek. And by the way, yeah, the name of that title, yikes. Anyway. Okay, get him to the Greek. You might want to go check that scene out. But y'all remember that scene, don't you? Y'all remember that scene? They coming to him. They're acquiescing to him. They came to him and they were acquiescing to him. I'm talking about Diddy done got bold with it. He done got bold with it. They don't care whether it's Idi Amin or whether it's Sean Combs. You flexing too damn much. You flexing too damn much. You can't do all that. Hell no. You can't sit up here and do that. We ain't gonna have that. Never gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen, dude. You just forget about it here. That's not gonna occur. Let's go ahead and get him. You getting all too damn bold with it. You getting too damn bold with it. We're not about to have that. You getting too damn bold with it. Too bold. You want to know about somebody else who had it popping like that? You want to know somebody else who had it popping like that? Very interesting when you see these kind of words and these kind of terms, by the way. Very interesting when you see that. You know, so let me make sure I'm good before I hit this button. Let me make sure I'm good before I hit this button. Oh boy, let me make sure I'm all right. I don't want to just do any old thing here. Let me make sure I'm all right. Okay, let me go. I think I'm good now. I think I'm good now. Jason, what are you talking about? You think you good now? Because I'm about to, taking a minute here. We're going to take a brief guitar break. We're going to take a brief musical interlude. You see that title? Jimi Hendrix, complex relationships with women. Well, Jimmy, why it got to be a big issue? So you see the big picture they got over here is him with a sister with an afro. Okay, but then let's get down to the nitty gritty. What made this nigga, Jimi Hendrix, so attractive to women? They like, how the hell this nigga do this? Oh, I'm not done. Oh, I'm not done. Oh, I'm not done. Folks, if you go to Google Images, I can't do it right now in front of you all. Go to Google Images and just type in Jimi Hendrix 2 white women. And you will get a damn near never-ending stream of women with Jimi Hendrix in various modes of being undressed. I'm talking about pictures from the 70s. It's like, oh, is it legal to even take them pictures? And go type in Jimi Hendrix 2 white women and you will get a string of returns of him with various white women. Not just 1 or 2. I'm talking about 1 or 2 dozen. I'm talking 1 or 2 dozen. He had his pick of the litter. He had his pick of the litter. By the way, whatever happened to Jimi Hendrix? Oh. Okay. Yeah, by the way, he got took out at the height of his abilities. By the way, whatever happened to Jimmy? What did happen to him? I can't quite remember. Is Jimi Hendrix still touring? Is Jimi Hendrix still on tour, everyone? Or did something happen to him at the very height of his abilities? Well, last thing you'll be doing. Yeah, you're right. I was about to say Prince. You jumped ahead of me. Yeah, ain't that something? Yes, sir. Oh, you gonna be sitting up here showing you got power over these white women, power over these white men. Oh, the optics of that can't stand. That can't stand. So what does the diabolical society do? Well, Negroes are jealous. Negroes are jealous. They've been deprived, and because they are frustrated by their lack of achievement, they don't like other people achieving, especially not other black folk. Now, if it was a white man, they'd be quiet. He can do that, but, oh, who do you think you are? So we have perfected the art of activating the jealous nigga gene. So even if it's negative publicity, they'll be jealous. They can get jealous real quick and, okay, that'll do it. Tell him that he was laying up with white women, black men. He was just doing everything. And watch them, ooh, see, you can't support that there. These will be the same niggas who'll be skinning and grinning next to the most bisexual actors in Hollywood. Anybody, including you here in this chat room, you'll be sitting next to white women who lay up with white women and white men, black women and black. You'll be sitting there cheesing next to Madonna. Oh my God, Madonna, you're so cool. You're just so gnarly. Living in the material world. You'll be the same clown sitting up here, standing next to Madonna, giving some raggedy ass peace sign with your Michael Jackson Thriller jacket on. And then next thing you know, okay, well, son, he shouldn't be doing all that there. He shouldn't be doing that. Why is he doing that? Why he got all them girls up in his house like that? Why he got to have all them girls up in his house? Hugh Hefner did that for decades, you horse-faced nigga. You never said nothing about him. That's different. How so? He run a magazine. No, remember the incompetents who were sitting up here defending Candace Owens on my program last week? Remember them? That's different. Hugh Hefner, he run a magazine. You need to quit being so hard. He run a magazine. Sean Combs, P. Diddy don't run no magazine. Did you see P. Diddy doing the centerfolds? Hugh Hefner is doing legitimate business at his house. Sean Combs is a deviant. That's the other thing to me about deviant. Let me go ahead and talk about this right quick. I'll be damned. Folks, is this where we at today with the low IQ thing? Is this where we at? Sean Combs is doing deviant stuff. What the hell is deviant? What the hell is deviant? Where you people come from? What drugs was your mom doing when you were in gestation? What is gestation? What are you talking about, gestation? I ain't been to no gestation. I've been to the West Station, the East Station, the Third Station. I ain't never been to no gestation. Damn you, Jason. You lying on me. What the hell are we talking about here? Okay, let me try this a different way. Will somebody please explain to me when the dominant society ever gives us permission to put handcuffs on a white man's sexuality? When have we ever been allowed? Hell, when have we ever been allowed to question it? Then they come to you all of a sudden. And then here you come jumping. Ooh, that's right. Diddy bad. That's got nothing to do with anything. It's like, by the way, hey, what they get him? It don't matter why they got him. Now, do you realize that right there? Do you know how hoghead cheese stupid you gotta be? That if I tell you, hey, this is a bogus warrant and a bogus warrant on a black person, and your response is so long as they get him. See, if you want to know whether or not there's a little white supremacist on your shoulder doing all your talking and doing your thinking, that's where. If you ever wanted to confirm that you got a little white supremacist on your shoulder who is talking in your ear and doing your thinking for you, if you've ever said it doesn't matter how they got Diddy and if it's legit or not, so long as they got him, don't look now. You got a little white supremacist on your shoulder. That's your little white supremacist element of your psyche. That's yours. You got a little white supremacist in you, and he just did the talking. He just let you know that just like the plantation coons and buffoons, yeah, there's yours. There's yours. Just so long as they get him, just so long as who gets him? Who is the they that you're referring to? Just so long as they get him. Get him for what? Having all that money and stuff. He got all that money and all them girls and stuff. All that money and girls and stuff. Meanwhile, Jake Paul. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I ain't supposed to say that. Because understand, Jake Paul, him and his brother Logan, they have a bunch of y'all. Can y'all just be honest with yourselves for a few moments? There's some of you listening to me right now. You can go ahead and put a hand up emoji in the chat room. Man, you love Jake Paul and Logan Paul, boy. They can, anything they do, you think that's great. You've been hearing stories about them now for years. Not even stories. These aren't even allegations. These are confirmed. And yet you're not having this reaction about them? So Jake Paul and Logan Paul, they can be the biggest thing on YouTube, and that's all legit. And they can go to WWE and Joe Rogan's program, whatever. They can go those places. All that's great. That's legit. That's fine. You don't have a problem with what they do with all them girls, or whether or not, I'm going to guard my words carefully. I am not accusing, I'm not saying that the Paul brothers have done anything with any underage girls, but We've all heard that underage girls be circling. Now, what I will tell them is they need to do a lot more to make sure they don't have that happening. I'll tell them that. But by the way, you ain't sitting up here getting your thong, you fellas who are upset about Diddy having some girls and some boys over there, okay. Jason, them men be wearing Brute. One had on Brute, one had on Stetson. No, we ain't trying to do all that there. Okay, well, you know what? I mean, that's what he wants to do. Just don't be there. If you get a flyer on the windshield of your car inviting you to the freak off, I suggest you say no.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
If somebody slides a flyer under the windshield wiper of your car inviting you to the freak off, call us at 1-800-TAKE-THAT. I suggest you turn it down. Don't go. I didn't say you have to go. If you get that in your DMs and you're just, okay, no. I'm good. I'm good. But if you fellas ain't got your leather thong your leather G-string in a bunch over Jake and Logan Paul, so how the hell is it all of a sudden the jealous nigga gene gets activated when Diddy shows up? Because you think, because the dominant society will allow you to take shots at another black person. You already know the dominant society is not going to help you do anything. Not to a white person. They're not going to help you do a damn thing. You can't do anything to them. They won't let you. So you're jealous, you're beaten down, you feel inferior and inadequate. And instead of looking at the folk who actually put you in that position, well, I can't do nothing to them, but I can get you, Diddy. I just join forces with them. And see, whatever you're doing, White Daddy, I'm behind it. 100% behind it. Let me explain something to you here, folks. In the American court system, the majority of folk who get railroaded through that thing are black. The majority of people who get railroaded through that thing are black. And please keep in mind and understand that 90 to 95% of the cases that come through your local court system get settled. They get pleaded out. And I want you to ask yourself a question here. If a disproportionate number of the arrests and charges are made against black people and the overwhelming majority of those get pled out, and we know for a fact that they cannot possibly be, that number cannot possibly be accurate as far as guilt, how is it that you can railroad so many black folk through this court system and it turns out the same? How is it that you can railroad so many black folk through this court system and it turns out the same? Cookie cutter process all the way through. How can that be? The only way that can happen is if they understand the psychology of the people they're doing it to. Don't worry, they'll go along with it. Ooh, you should have been doing that right there. Now you're understand how low you've fallen if you're sitting up here arguing with that. You've now descended and sunken. Talk about the sunken place. You've descended and sunk into a place where you're saying a black man can't have the kind of sex he wants to have. Now the white fellas, the Paul brothers, Charlie Sheen, and everybody else in Hollywood, they ain't just freaking off. They is freaking out. They don't have freak offs. They have freak outs. Every week, we just had another scandal come out about Nickelodeon. They talking about Diddy, and meanwhile, Nickelodeon has a literal casting couch where ain't nobody said nothing about them producers in decades. Do you understand that? What's his name? Keenan from Keenan and Kel or whatever, Keenan and Kel. He getting emotional about it, but I'm like, by the way, ain't nobody said nothing. So these dudes, y'all didn't let them do what they doing on Nickelodeon for decades. Our children have been growing up watching Nickelodeon, and this is what's happening behind the cameras, and ain't nobody said nothing. Let's be clear about that. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Corey Feldman and the rest of them, they whisper their stories. They whispered the stories about what happened to them, but even they won't just come out and say the names and say, okay, ain't nobody talking about the freak offs and the freak outs on Nickelodeon. You can't get nobody to give you no details. They're not giving you any details. The Department of Homeland Security, if you're going to go send them for a raid, shouldn't they be raiding Nickelodeon's headquarters? With 1,000 people, if you gonna raid a place, isn't that the spot to raid? Now explain to me how the hell they having freak-offs with underage teenagers. These are grown men having freak-offs with adolescents for decades in Hollywood and cable television. They're having freak-offs with these children for decades. And the ham bone turkey drumstick head niggas out here talking about Diddy ain't saying a word about them. They grabbing the little black kids and every damn thing else. Got Raven Simone turned out and everything else. And you ain't said nothing about them. Well, that's not, you're not saying, they need to do something about Nickelodeon, what they need to do. Now, you don't have a cross word to say about them. If you ain't saying nothing about Nickelodeon, how the hell is it you sprung to life when Diddy shows, when they make an accusation about Diddy? Oh, yeah, that's right, they need to come get him. Do they need to come get Nickelodeon? Well, you know, I mean, there's a TV be on, they'll get around that, but Diddy the real issue. I want you to take a look in yourself. I want you to take a look in yourself and ask yourself one question. What are you mad with Diddy over? What are you mad with Diddy over? You know what? I could do this a different way. Usually I'd be doing this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. Let me go ahead and open up the phone lines here. I want to know, why in the world are you angry? What are you angry about? Exactly. What is it that you're angry about? Or, oh, you think this is karma? I want to know, what exactly is it you're angry about? You see the dominant society going at him, and you right behind him. Yep, that's right. You go get him. Let's be very clear, folks. I have had my criticisms of Candace Owens. I didn't sit up here and take a victory lap and celebrate what happened to her. I just pointed out, hey, Candace, how is that going? I'm not coming to her defense, but I'm not sitting up here. That's right. The Daily Wire need to take her down a peg. Show her where she really belongs. I didn't do anything like that, and I never have. I never have. I've never done that. I'm not stupid enough to do something like that. I'm not dumb enough to do something like that. When you engage in that kind of behavior, don't look now. Your little white supremacist is talking. When you engage in that kind of behavior, you got that white supremacist on you. You're talking away. You're not, this is supposed to be about justice. You're not ever supposed to sit up here and say, okay, I see an injustice being directed at a black person. Well, I'll support it because there's somebody I don't like. You don't even know them. I don't like them. They need to do some injustice to them. That kind of shows how whacked out you are, but there's a lot of whacked out people, so okay. But by the way, hey, dummy, when they get ready to come for you, it'll be the same damn thing when they get ready to come for you there. You have a court system that is so good at railroading black folk because, yeah, you got so many folk who support it, and then when you show up for a traffic ticket, when you show up for eviction, when you show up on a bogus charge, when you show up for child support, when you show up for a divorce hearing, then you wonder why it is that this system is predisposed and so confident about its ability to impose that on you. Well, hell, you've been priming the pump all this time. You've been priming the pump all this time. That's what happens when you allow that, when you prime the pump. You've been sitting out here, we're going to normalize that. See, there are folks I like and there are folks I don't like. There are folks I like and there are folks I don't like. And if you were really just honest, you would just say, man, look here. That nigga is balling all the way out. I don't like it. And that's what I don't like about it. I mean, he doing too much. And I'm powerless in my own life, so it's easier for me to hate on him than it is to actually call out why I'm not succeeding in life, why I don't have the intellectual capacity, the connections, the dimensions of separation from real wealth and power. Instead of you looking at yourself and saying, okay, that's the reason why, it's real easy to blame him, to look at other black folk and to say that's the issue. Candace Owens is a world-class coon. No doubt about it. But I'm not going to sit here and be dumb enough to hear somebody tell me that anti-Semitic means whatever they tell me it means. I'm not so dense as to do that. That's right, Rabbi, you get her. That's right, Rabbi, you put her in her place. That's right, you get her. Some of you are going to have to understand that plantation gene runs strong in a number of you. That plantation gene runs strong in a number of you. You sitting up here hearing this, you are hearing what's going on, and you see what they're doing, and you can even see how this gets weaponized against you. And let me just tell you something. Tonight, I have a proclamation to make in that regard. I got to do it. I got to do it. Tonight, I got a proclamation in that regard. Yeah, we done spent a bunch of time talking about them old niggas. But truth be told, we got to keep an eye on some of you younger niggas too. The old niggas be cooning and the younger niggas be hating and jealous. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just call it what it is. That plantation gene is strong in a bunch of folks, man. It's strong. And you looking around trying to figure out how you can get somebody else to sit up here and, well, I can't, the dominant society got me stuck. And I'm powerless with them. Let me go see if they'll let me go and beat up on somebody in the same position you're in. Let me go see if I can get that done, since I can't do anything else. So as much as we talk about the old niggas, we need to make sure we have a conversation about some of these younger niggas too, by the way. We need to have a conversation about some of these younger niggas too, by the way. Because the younger niggas be hating and jealous. And instead of them saying, hey, how can I get gamed up? Let me explain something to you right now. I have my criticisms of Beyonce Knowles. I have my criticisms of Jay-Z. I've got my criticisms of Sean Combs. I got my criticisms of a number of people. I hate on none. I don't hate on a single one of them. Not a single damn one. I don't hate on them. And the folks sitting up here hating and whatnot because things haven't gone your way, hey, maybe you need to be trying to, you the kind of fella and kind of female out here, you don't want to get gamed up. Instead of you hating on Diddy, you need to be trying to figure out how to get gamed up. I have a documentary with folk who work with Diddy. They didn't walk in the door hating. They walked in trying to figure out, hey, how can I get on? How can I be gamed up? And there are others out there, but you ain't going to get along with any of them because as soon as you see somebody doing better than you, it's not, hey, like DJ Quick, how can I be down? It's, well, you know, you doing all that money and stuff and all these girls around you, they ain't right. Some of you became the hating old church folk without ever going to church. Damn! Some of you became the hating old church folk without ever actually going to church. Ain't that something? We're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines here. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. As always, you are welcome to join us. Want to send a shout out here to everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, PayPal, Venmo. Still working on those others there, but it doesn't matter because we're going to keep it rolling regardless here. Shout out here to my man, Mr. Chadwick. Thank you very much for your support. Mr. Richburg, as always, thank you very much for your support. You got a permanent seat. Walter, Rick Ford, and all the people who have signed up for a membership tonight. My man DJ Sega has gifted some memberships. Bayou Billy has gifted some memberships. Veronica has gifted some memberships. So thank you very much to those of you who have given the gift that keeps on giving, a membership here to the Black Channel. As always, you are all very much appreciated. Thank you very much, and to everybody who's done that tonight. I see some other folks here did too. Thank you very much here as well. We appreciate that also. Let's go ahead and get over here to the telephone lines. And yes, it's Good Friday, but we're doing black business. Let me get caller from area code 816. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Let's make sure he is unmuted. Yes, he is. Last try. I was on the line so he can hear me. Caller from area code 816. You're on live. Okay, caller from area code 816 has been abducted. Caller from area code 437. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're on live. What is your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening. My name is Mike. I'm calling from Toronto. One thing I want to let y'all know through your hard heads is that in this society, as a so-called black person, you are held to a different standard because more is expected of you. You are supposed to be upholding law and order, not participating in the degeneracy of the beast. Be one. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Handyman. Caller from area code 516. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, brother? Jason, it's Adam calling from Queens, New York.
Adam from Queens, what's on your mind?
Well, I just got a question. So I get we get on our own people about this, what's going on here. And of course, we got the house niggas running around doing their part as usual. But my opinion, honestly, and the question is to you, I honestly believe that all of this crap goes back to, like, honestly, some weird ancient Babylonian stuff, man. And I heard another caller not too long ago try to talk about it, but he sounded kind of crazy. So I just wanted your opinion on that.
Okay. Even if I accept that explanation, what does it matter? What are we going to do with it now?
Right. I mean, you got Clive Davis still running around. Trust me, brother, I get your point.
Yeah, my point is, even if I accept what you're saying at face value, okay, fine. This goes all the way back to Babylon. Okay, no matter where it goes back to, we're not in ancient Babylon, we're in America today. So what do we, with that knowledge that you just gave, okay, great. What do we do with it now?
Well, I would just say that people need to be aware of that because our young brothers and sisters go off to these colleges. And that's where they pick up this crap from, and then they that's where most of that intrigue comes from. If you look at, not just to pick on him, but I know so much about him, about Diddy, and then you look at Farnsworth Bentley and brothers like that. I mean, these brothers with good intentions coming up and looking at other brothers, you know what I mean, depending on them to get their leeway in this game. So I was just thinking that it'd probably be
yeah, brother. Like I said, I mean, look, I mean, I just asked you how it's to your advantage to know about what is the ancient Babylon's connection to what's happening right now.
Well, I believe that it has a lot to do with it right now because it's basically America's basically becoming that. Like, look at the homosexuality and all of that. I think is tied to this.
America's not becoming Babylon. America's becoming America.
Correct. I mean, you stated it before that.
Yeah, I mean
we copied off
the Babylonians, or I guess if you want to call them the Iraqis. I mean, America's not becoming Babylon. America is being America.
Mm.
The Masons, and because all your founding fathers were 33rd degree Masons, and Babylon wasn't really their inspiration for anything. Their individual goals and what they were looking to do, and the sexual deviancy there, and hedonism there is well documented. I mean, they weren't being Babylon. They're being America. Nobody's sitting around teaching you about King Nebuchadnezzar and all that. Nobody's doing that. You can't name a single person who's being taken off into a fraternity somewhere being taught about King Nebuchadnezzar. That's not what's going on. They're being taught about right here, right now, and this is what we do. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And like I said, I asked him, what's the connection, folks? I mean, everything's not a history lesson. It's real black and white. It's where you at right now today. You can know nothing about Babylon and get turned out. You can know nothing about Babylon and exercise power over other people. So, which is what it's really all about. Exercising power over other people is perfectly fine right up until you start exercising it over white people. As soon as you're a black person and they perceive you as having power and influence over white people, now you got to go. Ain't that right, Michael Jordan? Caller from area code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Thomas, calling from Dallas, Texas.
Thomas from Dallas. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Jason. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, what these young black men are doing, man, is really sad because, you know, in our days we call them fuck boys. I mean, these are the guys that were raised by that single parent mom, and they sit around and watch their mom gossip all day. And you have a gossip male culture, man. We didn't do that back in our day. We didn't gossip like women. And I got two prime examples of what you've been talking about tonight. You had Ed Buck and Kyle Rittenhouse got more protection than Puffy right now, and they got bodies under their belt. They was dragging bodies out of Ed Buck's house. Kyle Rittenhouse killed a person, and he got more protection than Puff Daddy right now. So think about it. It's white supremacy. It's not Babylon. It's white supremacy they practicing, and that's what they've been practicing. It's just that what rich black men don't understand. You can't practice the same thing they practice. You're not going to get away with it.
I'm glad, Thomas, you're a long-time listener, so you caught that, because that's the same thing when people tell me about semantics of names. We're not black and don't call ourselves black and this. Okay, whatever you want to call us. Now, what do we do? You understand that when I ask that, what I'm saying is, okay, we're in a system of white supremacy. Everything you just said there, what are we going to do about this system of white supremacy that we're in with what you just said? And that's when it comes off the rails. Yeah, it's not about Babylon. It's not about, classism. It's not about ancient history. It's about the white here, white now.
Because a lot of times we, as black people, we try to go to the biblical Bible. Man, that's another story. But yeah, it's white supremacy.
Well, I mean, look, no, when you do that, when you have the idea that you can dismantle white supremacy by becoming a scholar of the past, you see what I mean? Of some of the trivia and the arcane stuff. Well, if I become a scholar of these things here, that will help me to dismantle white supremacy. And I'm like, dude, white supremacy is I've taught you all for years now, white supremacy is so sophisticated that the point it's at now, it is willing to discard the past if that's what it requires to stay in power. They don't even need the past anymore. They're willing to get rid of anything and everything about their past if it allows them to stay in power. You focusing on being a scholar of the past, and I'm just saying that's not a weapon that you can wield against them. You need to have knowledge of your history, sure, because they've tried to take that from you. But don't think that trying to dissect their secrets and whatnot is going to give you power over them. It'll give you information, but it won't give you power. That's an intellectual distraction. What's happening in the right here, right now, and how they're applying it, because that's what I'm asking about. Okay, what are we going to do? He couldn't tell us how we're going to apply it. Well, I just think knowing that is necessary. Okay, but he can't tell us how. You got to get to a point of, okay, how does this help you? You know how my knowledge of the past helps me? When I see you trying to railroad somebody like Diddy, let me put that brake on. Let me get another one. I got sound effects for that. I don't have to simulate that. I got sound effects for that now. I'm putting the brake pedal on that. See, that's what I learned from my past. What I learned is that you pit black folk against each other. You don't do that with white folk. Let me ask y'all a question right now. Who is the white chick who is coming for Taylor Swift's neck? What? Name for me the white woman in the music industry who is coming for Taylor Swift's neck.
Auntie, chill.
If I'm just making this up on the fly, tell me the white female in the music business who is coming for Taylor Swift's neck. All right, now tell me the black female who's coming for Nicki Minaj's neck. Tell me the black female who's coming for Cardi B's neck when she's black. Tell me the black female who's coming for Meg Thee Stallion's neck. Tell me the black female who's coming for Remy Ma. We can go down the list. Every week you look up, they each going at each other. Every week you look up, they're each going at each other. You can name the females going at Beyonce's neck and Rihanna. We can be here all damn day naming that. Now, when it comes to them, they don't let you pit one white female against another. Not in the acting field, not in professional sports, not in music. You don't get to pit two white people against each other. But when it comes to us, every time you turn around, they're pitting you against each other. And because they know, even if both of you won't play along, one of you will. One of you is going to be our pawn, and you're going to run the ball. One of you is going to do that. That's what they know, and that's what they understand about us. So I've learned from my history. When I see them forming that one up, hey, what about them folk over there? I have my critiques, but I'll be damned if I'm going to help you with a takedown. No, that's not going to happen. Yeah, I know you want me to help you with that. No, because today you're going after them. Tomorrow you come after me. And your whole job is that you use us to weaken us up and to soften each other up. But you won't help me soften up those white folk over there who are doing real damage. Your tax dollars are making Elon Musk the richest man on the planet. Tesla is government subsidized. That's how a young white male could become the richest man on the planet in record time. Yeah, he's plugged into your tax dollars. Tesla is plugged in. The Boring Company, which is defunct, is tied in. SpaceX has replaced NASA. He's got a direct line to your tax dollars. And yet he spews white supremacy all the time. And they will not assist us with a takedown of him. By the way, one more thing. How many children does Elon Musk have by how many different women? What? Oh, I'm sorry. You all didn't know that, did you? Oh, I'm breaking news to some of you tonight. Oh, you didn't know that. By the way, how many children does Elon Musk have, and by how many women? That's you all's homework assignment for tonight. I'll let you have the last word, Thomas.
And on this one also, they tried it with Martin Luther King. Somebody he had sex tapes. You know, he had J. Edgar Hoover talking about he had sex tapes out there. Now you know good and well if they had sex tapes on Martin Luther King, it would have came out in the '60s. So they've been doing this to us, man. And shame on these young black males because they don't know. A lot of them do know. Stop falling for the okie doke. Because if they can come out after a powerful black man with money, they'll definitely come after your broke young ass. And stop doing it. Stop falling for the feds. You mean to tell me you're gonna line yourself up with the feds and agree with the feds after they lied? They never been friends with black people. They've been our enemies from the start. That's the problem with us, man. We dumb and stupid out here in these streets, man. Y'all better wake up.
Thomas, I got folk in the chat room saying that they didn't even know Elon had children. Brother, I want that to be a testament to how tightly... See, white supremacy don't let you play them stupid games with you that you get to play with each other. They didn't even know this man had children. He's got 11 kids. They didn't know that he had one. He's got 11. Now, the next question is, by the way, by how many different women?
Yeah.
You didn't know he had children. And did you know that, by the way, how many different women has Elon Musk had those children by, and how many has he married? You want to talk about Diddy and Future? By the way, white society don't let us go talk about them like that. We don't get to do this kind of talk about Elon Musk, richest man in the damn world, and nobody talks about how many folk in my chat room didn't even know he had one kid. They're like, I didn't know he had any children, and he got 11. And he has 11 by several women. 11 by several, and not wives either. Not wives either. 11. I don't think Future is caught up to Elon Musk yet. And I got folk telling me they didn't know he had one. But Thomas, I bet you they can tell me how many hoes were at Diddy's house. Now, I bet you they can tell me that. That's what I want to lay down. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, don't you see how you've been engineered? Now, you couldn't tell me that the richest man in the world, who spends billions of dollars to spew white supremacy from your tax dollars, you didn't know that he had one child. And yet, you can tell me all the chicks Diddy. You can tell me about all of Diddy's children. You can tell me about all of Diddy's women. You can tell me about some of Diddy's boyfriends. You can tell me all that. You don't know a damn thing about Elon Musk, richest man in the world, supposedly one of the most publicized men on the planet, and you didn't even know he had children. Well, he don't talk about him. We don't see him. No, the dominant society is on code. They're not going to give you that to do a takedown of him. They're not going to give you enough information to do a takedown on him. I'm not telling you what somebody else told me. I just gave you proof. Most of you didn't even know he had kids. But you can tell me chapter and verse about Sean Combs. Is that natural? Or is your ignorance about that natural, or is your ignorance about that engineered? P. Diddy, some old white folk who don't even listen to rap music talking about Diddy for the last couple of weeks here, and for the last week here. And yet, nothing about Elon? How many bastard kids you got to have before it makes a headline in this country? Call Americo 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening, big brother Jason. This is brother Elijah calling out of Brooklyn, New York.
Brother Elijah out of Brooklyn, what's on your mind?
Hey, I'm going to ask you a question because this conversation about Diddy led to something. But if you remember you brought up something very important about particularly Bob Johnson. You remember a few years ago when you, Brother Tariq, Professor Black Truth, y'all was banging strong during the 2019 about reparations. Bob Johnson slithers out of nowhere. Then he starts talking about reparations and everything. Then he started to try to, step back from his image, talking about we have no permanent friends, all right, just interests and everything like that. And I'm like, he had 40 years to talk like that, and yet now he hears y'all talking like that. Now all of a sudden he wants to get on a bandwagon, and to my understanding, the grassroots ignored him as they should, and everything. But this whole Diddy, I'm completely indifferent with the Diddy thing, but I'm not rooting for him, but I'm not rooting against him. But I do. It leads to this question: when did this whole trope of basically the rise of this, how do I say, high profile LGBT, you have to be a high profile, and then you got to be in this whole LGBT element, because especially you mentioned just now with the Nickelodeon and massive sexual assaults and everything like that. But where did this era really start?
I'm thinking here, right after the Garden of Eden. I mean, it's always been there. This is not new. What you are witnessing in the system of capitalism, what has happened is that type of power has been democratized across the society. Look, the system of capitalism was created to empower white people. Now, we have not really been students in the dark arts of power. We have been students of religion. Follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. We have been conditioned to think that our definition of power comes from a religious text. A religious text given to us by the very people who are exercising power over us. So when we discuss power, we start talking in terms of morality. Now, I am not going to say that morality does not matter. I would never say something so ridiculously heinous. But what I am going to tell you is the people you up against, morality isn't even, they put on morality and take it off like a jacket. At the end of the day, if their Bible does not give them power over you, now the operative word is over. They cannot have second place power if their Bible does not give them power superior to yours. Then they throw the whole book away.
Yes, sir.
They don't hold on to anything that does not empower them. The Bible has been very good in their hands to empower them. The black folk that the Bible empowered, they killed them. Ain't that right, Nat Turner? Ain't that right, Denmark Vesey? Ain't that right, Dr. King? The black folk who the Bible empowered, they killed them. So recognize what the game is that they're playing. Sex is an expression of power. That is why buck-breaking people has always been a mainstay of the dominant society. It's always been a mainstay of it. Sexual domination is like beating somebody up without punching them.
Yes, sir.
When you walk in and do something like that, that's like beating them up without punching them. And because what they understand is that requires a level of powerlessness. And we're not talking about folk who consent. I'm not referring to people who consent. But as the dominant society is concerned, everything is a hazing. Everything is a hazing ritual. And what is hazing? Exercising power over a powerless person. Or exercising power over someone to the point that they're powerless. Everything is a hazing ritual. And all the different ways they can do it. That's the whole goal. So as a black man, you can have sex with white women if you are allowed. As a white man, you can have sex with black women on demand. They don't get to tell you no. They don't get to say that. That's not an issue or something you're worried about. They don't get to say no. They certainly do not get to come back after the fact and say it wasn't consensual. No, they don't get to say that. You went with a white man, it was consensual, no matter what happens next. Ain't that right, Stacey Dash?
Yes, sir.
When they get their hands on you, oh, it's about to be consensual. About to be consensual all over your ass. But you don't get to be doing that with them. You don't get to pull that on them. So, brother, it is about power. It has always been about power. It will continue to be about power. When you are a person whose greatest fear is genetic annihilation, you need all the power you can get. You need all the power you can have. Because that's the only thing that will ensure your survival as a minority. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Miracle 626. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller Miracle 626. You're on live. Caller's been abducted. Caller from area code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Demarius from Chicago.
All right, Daenerys from Chicago, south side or west side? You sound like north side, but south side or west side?
The west side.
All right, what's on your mind?
Well, thank you for taking my call, Jason. I saw several comments about this new Nickelodeon documentary coming out, and the truth is that Dan Snyder, he was like the owner or the CEO or whatever of Nickelodeon. I heard about him like back in 2015. Like Jeanette McCurdy, she's an actress from iCarly, and she was forced into like some sexual encounter of some kind with Dan Snyder. He also had like some kind of foot fetish or whatever for the kids, and I do recall some episodes there was some just out of place stuff with the feet, and it always seemed out of place for a kids show. And Britney Spears, when she had her breakdown, the reason why is because her younger sister was also raped, or the casting couch was some kind or whatever with Dan Snyder, and that's why she had her breakdown, because the younger sister was raped by Dan Snyder. I heard all of that way back in 2015.
But here's the thing: whether it's what was his name, the X-Men producer, the producer of the X-Men movie, Brian Glazer,
Bryan Singer.
Yeah, Bryan Singer and Glazer. I want to say, if I'm wrong about Glazer, sorry, sir, but I want to say Singer and Glazer. But there's a number of them, and that phrase you kept using. Understand something. That's what most of the articles say too. That phrase you all keep using. We heard things for years. We heard things for years. Brother, how in the hell is it in a place where you got hundreds, if not thousands of people working there, that you heard something and nobody did anything? How can you do that for that long? If you tried this at your regular square job, how long would you be able to stay?
Not long at all. I'll be gone overnight.
Think about that for a few moments. If you worked at AT&T, if you worked at the New York Times, if you worked at Amazon Delivery, how long could you do what Dan Snyder and the rest of these men did, and you still got your job and you're not arrested or reprimanded or anything? There's just, I heard rumors about Daenerys. I heard rumors about him now. Well, how many years? 10.
Mm-hmm.
He been here for 10 years going buck wild and just, every once in a while he take the girls off into the closet over there and like to do. And I don't know what be going on in there. I hear pots and pans and mop sticks flying around, but it just been rumors. Well, what did you think they were doing in there? I thought they was just making some more mop water and cleaning off the buckets and stuff. Well, I'm just saying, dude, none of you, there's not a single person in here who at your job, you could do that for a decade and you'd be all right. You would never get a decade down the road. Now explain to me how it is that we can name one place after another place after another place after another place where this is just the norm, man. This is just what we do. This is just what we do. And then you show up at Diddy's doorstep. It didn't take them no damn decade for him now, did it? Let's be clear, folks. What they talking about for him, that didn't take no damn decade. That didn't take a decade. There isn't anything that the feds showed up for Diddy for that took a damn decade. Talk about being on the legal fast track. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, thank you. That was all a part of some research I had done back then about Hollywood pedophilia. So Dan Snyder obviously wasn't the only one. Like Roman Polanski, Woody Allen, them having sex with 14-year-olds way back decades ago. It's just a part of their culture. But when you're black, none of their houses were raided like Diddy was. Like they didn't even make the news. It's just a part of the culture. So, but B1, thank you for taking my call.
B1, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 708. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Devin calling from Los Angeles, California.
All right, sounds like you calling from Skid Row, brother.
I'm pretty close.
Okay, well, don't get jacked up out there. What's on your mind?
Hey, so I was calling because we were talking about these celebrities, and I have 3 kids, and Puff Daddy, I mean, we don't use him as like a great example. Like, he's a person who got money, but as far as like somebody you can look at him as somebody you can look up to other than money, I mean, he's actually a coon. So like, I don't understand how we're gonna put the cape on for him.
Okay, sir. Well, nobody's putting the cape on for him, but let me go ahead and address what you just said there. Please tell me how many white people you look up to.
I mean, what's the guy that started Apple? Or he was Dobbs, that guy.
Interesting. Do you know Steve Jobs' autobiography, sir?
No.
Okay, so you know about Diddy, and he's not somebody you respect and look up to. You name Steve Jobs, and all you know about him is, didn't he make an iPhone? I look up to him, praise the phone. By the way, do you know what his own daughter said about him?
I actually have an Android.
Okay, sir, I don't give a damn if you've got pigtails. Do you know what Steve Jobs' own daughter said about him?
No, sir.
Okay, that is the stuff of legend now. They've made 3 movies that I'm aware of. One with Michael Fassbender, another one with Ashton Kutcher, and then there's a 3rd movie running around out there somewhere. Sir, Steve Jobs was a awful parent. He was a terrible husband. He was a terrible husband. He was an awful parent to his daughter. He verbally abused that girl every chance he got, to the point that he was publicly sorrowful for it. Didn't stop him from doing it. But by the way, even he had to concede, yeah, I was pretty bad to my daughter. And you just told us that that's the guy you look up to. And he can't tell us anything that he looks up to other than, well, he made the iPhone. I said, do you know about him in his personal life? No. But you know about Diddy's. And all I'm saying is, by the way, did you think for a moment there, sir, that jealous gene, do you think that that's accidental, or do you think that's engineered? That once again, just like Elon Musk, you didn't know he had kids, but thumbs up for Elon. You have a problem with Diddy's personal life, but you look up to Jobs and you don't even know anything about his. So why do you hold Diddy to a different standard than you do Steve Jobs?
Well, because he's black. You know what I mean? Because we look at black people in our culture as somebody, you know, who especially has that much money. Like, it's the same way as like with Oprah. You know, if Oprah was to get indicted or something like that, I mean, will we be caping for Oprah now?
Okay, but sir, this is not about caping. What I'm saying here is that you're holding up P. Diddy for a position he ain't supposed to be in. P. Diddy is not supposed to be looked up to by you and your kids and be a role model for your family. Everybody is not here to be a role model. Is that news?
No, I understand that part. I mean, I get what you were saying. Like, you know, it's off code for us to be, you know, just especially as black men being like, you know, we're just against this guy because we're hating on him because he got money. I mean,
sure sounds like it.
That's not just it.
But sir, here's my point though. My point is, when I asked you what the issue was and you said, well, Diddy ain't a good person and he ain't somebody we can look up to. And I'm like, okay, who are the white men that you're holding to that standard, that they're not good people if you can't look up to them?
I mean, you just was comparing me like who's like a good like white person. I use Steve Jobs, but I really don't even watch white.
Okay, but so that's not my point though. Is that you can't name any white people at all. You can't name a single white person that your standard for them is they quote have to be a good person that you would look up to. You wouldn't have that. You don't have that standard for a single white person. They can do as they please, reputable or not, and you're not holding that against them. So, in other words, you say white folk don't owe you anything. Okay, how is it white folk don't owe you nothing, but Diddy does?
It's because he tried to create stuff like the Black Party, where he's going to talk for us. Like, he wanted to be like grassroots. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
when we talk about grassroots stuff, we come here. We come to the black media or the new black media. We don't go deal with them guys. He wanted to put himself in that position, and so like we're going to analyze him.
Okay, well, here's the thing: after Diddy did that, I mean, you're talking about that revolt stuff. Didn't Tariq go to one of those?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So what's your
and
beef?
He waited a while because he did that during during the campaign
yes, sir, absolutely. Well, okay, absolutely, but that's going to happen. Okay, but absolutely, yes, and I'm pretty sure there was some chicanery there. I'm pretty sure there was. Here's my thing: when they know they're dealing with folk who are not bought off or who can speak for themselves, yeah, they're worried about you speaking. Yeah, they are, because you might say something about them. So, of course, I can understand why they would have some reservations when they're dealing with people who their money, their income, and their influence isn't dependent on you. So somebody like that is not dependent on Diddy. So I can understand why they would have some trepidation about that. I can understand why that would be the case. But my whole issue about it here is they're not here to speak for us. They wanted to have him there because they understood that who speaks for us. They understand who's got the ear. And what you will find is whether or not these are reputable folk or whether they're not. Now, I think that's a good forum to be in, as, you know, it puts you eyeballs in places where we ordinarily would not be. But the good news is we're not dependent on them. I don't want Sean Combs leading our political conversation. He can facilitate some forums, he can get some eyeballs on it, but we should never be in a situation where he's leading the discussion. Never. And we want him to have an understanding that he can host a forum, but he cannot lead the discussion. Like a basketball tournament. Yeah, you can host it, but you can't get on the field and play. You can't do that. Let those of us who actually know what we're doing do that. That's not your job. That's not your place. You're not versed enough of it anyway. You probably got ulterior motives, and as soon as the people see you got ulterior motives, it's going to go left for you. So you got to have some real folk out here who got real motives that are dedicated and honest. Fake ain't gonna work. But back to what you were saying here before, brother, just understand, I mean, that's a very telling thing, and I thank you for your candor. But just understand, you're holding Sean Combs to some idealistic standard that you're literally not holding anybody else to. Not anybody else. And that's a very important thing to keep in mind.
So at what point do we just leave these guys to their vices and just say, hey, look, man, you made your bed? Because you guys like to be, praised when everything's going good for you. And then you want us to listen to you. You want to be all with the politicians, because all these guys want to be next to the president or Trump or Biden and acting like they're the next black biggest thing. But then at what point when things go bad for them, because nothing ever works out when you're around these guys, I mean, at one point we just say, hey, look, you made your bed.
Okay, well, definitely we can say that to an extent, but the real thing is, did he make this bed or did somebody else make it for him? Our job is to be honest about the system that we live in. That's our job. We have to be brutally honest about that. When we start taking the eye off the ball about that, and here comes the jealous plantation gene, and what are you doing with all that? Because just me asking you, by the way, is there a white person you hold to that standard? And you don't. What I'm saying is you need to let that sink in for a little bit. Let that sink in. Wait a minute, what is it about me that thinks that that's okay to do? I'm not holding any of these other people to, you need to be a good person. They can just wild out and do as they please. But for a black person, well, you need to make sure you flying right now, or otherwise you can't be looked up to, or otherwise you're not worthy of consideration. I'm not saying that anybody needs to lionize Diddy. I certainly am not. What I'm talking about the dominant society and the white supremacist system. I'm saying, hey, by the way, they moving funny over here. They moving funny over here. I'm a longtime critic of Bill Cosby. I'm not ignoring what the hell happened to him. That was a damn double jeopardy they put him in and then sent him to prison. You could never send a white man in front of a litigation case for the same damn offense twice. You could never do that. Never. And yet look what they did to him. Now, my credentials of criticizing Bill Cosby are platinum plated, but I'll be damned if I'm going to sign off on that. Until y'all give me the ability to sign off on that for some white folk. Show me, because I got plenty of white folk who are deserving of it. Show me the ability to sign off on that for them. Then you can go, if I got double jeopardy, if I can impose double jeopardy on them, then you can go ahead and impose double jeopardy on him. As long as it's an even balanced playing field, sure. But don't tell me that only the black folk can get it. Only the black folk can get it, and you're going to say that's legit? No, that's I'm not going to play that game.
So that means we should all look at R. Kelly the same way then.
He's trying hard now, isn't he? Is there something that happened to R. Kelly that was illegal or improper?
No, I'm not saying there was. I'm just saying, like, R. Kelly's, he's getting the same type of treatment.
Okay, sir, again, is there something that the prosecution or whatever did with R. Kelly that was illegal, unjustifiable, improper?
Yeah, he shouldn't even be in jail, if you asking me straight up.
Okay, well, I'm not so sure the evidence shows that. The only thing is, by the way, if you're going to be digging up old charges and stuff, by the way, the Nickelodeon guys should be hiding under the couch right now, if those are the rules we're going to play by. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, I mean, Diddy Black, dude. He need to do more. Diddy Black. Okay, so he needs to be a role model for your children. He's a successful mogul. It would be great if he were more than that for black folk. Am I sitting up here standing in front of his house? Does anybody see me in front of P. Diddy's house talking about, wait a minute now, y'all can't go in there now? Like the black girl standing in front of the police with the flower. Do you see that with me? Am I doing that? Okay, wake up. Let's not be silly. I'm not standing in front of his house trying to stop the police, but I'm not going to pretend that I don't see what I see. I'm not going to do that. That's not caping for anything but logic and reason. I'm not caping for Diddy. I'm caping for the facts. Hey, by the way, when we gonna kick in some doors on some white folk because some black people told you to go investigate them? I have black people who've been shot by the police, messed over by corporations, messed over by their jobs, messed over by white landlords, can't get nobody to give this kind of treatment. There's a whole bunch of white folk right now that people in my audience you got issues with, but the system isn't backing you like this. There's a whole bunch of you. Every single black person listening to me right now, live or recorded, every single one has worked for a white company that you should have sued to oblivion. Look it up. You should have sued them into nothingness. Every single black person in here has had something that these folks have done to you at your job that was flat out illegal. And the system has not helped you to go prosecute any of them. You've got no help from the system to prosecute any of them. You just got to take this L and hold these lumps. You got to take this L and hold these lumps. That's what you got to do. And if you can't do that, oh well. There's a bunch of y'all have been through a bunch of jobs. And nobody has helped you go after them. But when it's a black person, okay, we can grab you now. Call from area code 417. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Brother Jason. This is Al from Springfield.
Al from Springfield, what's on your mind?
Yes, brother. You know, it's a shame what they're doing to Sean P. Combs, because around this time last year, he was involved in trying to buy BET off of a family who has been profiting off the degeneracy of our brothers and sisters, particularly in the hip hop industry. And he was willing to step in and try to buy BET, and then all of a sudden the Cassie situation started creeping up, you know, and then she shut her mouth up after she, you know, got money and everything else. And now we got this situation right here. And, you know, the new generation is so blinded with what was going on 30 years ago when the FBI used to spy and used to sit on of our black politicians, particularly some of them in the in some of these big cities, like they used to do to Marion Barry, Mayor Kurt Schmoke, Coleman Young, and everything else. And back then we were on code. You know what I'm saying? We were on code when they were doing that to us. And now it seems like, you know, 30 years later, you got some of these new non-FBA immigrants, you know, who are now writers and everything else, or sitting up there trying to crucify Mr. P. Diddy Combs and not going back what happened 30 years ago when a lot of these black politicians back then, you know, when the FBI were trying to bring a lot of these black mayors. Speaking of Marion Barry, he's one of my all-time greats. He's one of my all-time greats because he fought back from federal charges.
Okay, brother. Well, like I said, we're going on a little while here, though. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Well, my question is, do you find it very coincidental that that all of a sudden they're just bringing down P. Diddy Combs because of the BET situation, and plus he was filing a lawsuit against some liquor company some years back.
Okay, well, look, here's the thing, okay? And I understand this because, like I said, I mean, I move in these circles and I talk to some of these people. These ain't just folk I talk about. I talk to folk who are in the know about it and some of the principles. Nick Cannon was an executive. Wasn't he like an executive at Nickelodeon or whatever? I mean, Nick Cannon was an executive. Okay? He pitching shows. He getting people on. He wasn't just a guy just walking around. You got on. If you knew Nick Cannon, you could get put on. Next thing you know, Nick is out. We taking the show. You talking bad about Jews. Let's cancel him. Sound familiar? Yeah. Every time a black person, particularly a younger black person, ain't one of the old niggas just hanging out on the porch somewhere. Every time that happens, they come for you. So we can go down the list. It never stopped. Everybody talks about, you know, the rap stuff from the 90s, but the truth of the matter is, where's Young Thug today? Yikes. Mm-hmm. Come on now. We can go down the list. You name your favorite rappers and whatnot, with the sole exception of the ones who live under a blanket. But if there's anything they can get you with, but the ones they really go after ain't really making no big moves. They're not really making no moves like that. Yeah. When you start making moves for ownership, they start moving pieces into place to either discredit you or criminalize you. So Nick Cannon, he'd been talking about getting Wild 'N Out back. Well, you know what he plans to do. That's something he owns. It's something very popular. And after Dave Chappelle, Nick Cannon's like, yeah, I want to own my thing. Oh, there's nothing you could do with owning Wild 'N Out except make a bunch of moves. That's all you could do with that. Yeah, go ahead and shut him down. Let's go ahead and get to that. So here Diddy is. Oh, we see in Oakland. Let me explain something to y'all. This is not coming from somebody else somewhere else. I talked to Jadakiss. I can go ahead and say this tonight. I talked to Jadakiss. I asked him about his relationship with Diddy. He said his relationship with Diddy is good. All the way good. Mm-hmm. He talked about, he just saw him a little while ago. My relationship with Diddy is good. All the way good. About his masters and his publishing, he said his relationship with Diddy is good about that too. Because he's got his masters and his publishing back. He ain't got a bad thing to say about Diddy. Not a bad thing to say at all. Now, I'm not saying that there are not people who do. Let me say again, I am not saying that there are not people who do. Diddy got a reputation. I have pointed that out over the years. He sure does. He has a reputation. My thing about it here is, in the 21st century, that to the side, you are correct. He was getting ready to make some moves. In my opinion, based on what I saw, Diddy was trying to jockey for an ownership or majority stake in Ciroc. He was just trying to jockey to own it. And a lot of folk thought maybe he did, but really he didn't. I think that Diddy was trying to apply the pressure to get them to go ahead and let him have that.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was trying to do. And when they saw he was muscling in and he's got the money to afford the attorneys and everything else, he's got the ability to put y'all on Front Street and keep you there. It's like, oh, nigga, don't worry. Hey, call my secretary. Get Cassie on the line. Yeah, we're not going to fight with this nigga. Get Cassie on the line. See if she wants to play ball.
Mm-hmm.
Get Cassie on the line.
Yeah.
And that's what the hell happened. In my opinion. I'll let you have the last word.
I also think they moved him on him because he was trying to buy BET.
Well,
once you make these type of moves and everything else, they're going to start, targeting you and everything else. They don't want to see black folks owning something, valuable for ourselves.
I'm not certain. I'm not certain. I mean, it could be. I'm not certain. Do I really believe that Sean Combs is going to buy BET? I'm not certain, but what I do know is I don't even think that was the point. I think the point, and I've seen this before, we saw this with Magic Johnson, we've seen this with other people. I think for a lot of them, they want to go through the process. I think a lot of them, once they get enough money, they actually want to go through the process of attempting to acquire an outlet so that they can see what the process is like. And so when they finally do get ready to make a move, then they've got experience and they know what they're doing, as opposed to going through this for the first time. So I think for a lot of these dudes, they're trying to get a feel for what it's like to make such an acquisition, to see, basically to get discovery is what I'm trying to say. You're making them an offer and you're saying, okay, I want you all to give me the information, how much we need, what is required of us, so they can have an idea of what that would take to do that. And then, of course, like, okay, you don't make it the first time, and then they come back later, it's like, okay, now I know what we got to do and do that. That's dangerous because they know that Diddy doesn't know enough about that to make that kind of acquisition, even with Revolt. But if you're trying to find out, you're asking, understand what I'm saying, brother. He's not spending money he ain't supposed to be spending. That's not how it works in the system of white supremacy. You're asking questions you shouldn't even be asking. You shouldn't even be asked. Remember, brother, I told y'all that for years. I used to work for white folk, and when I asked them how they got their contracts, clam right up on me. They love shucking and jiving, and you've probably experienced this in your life. They love shucking and jiving and shooting the crap with you and bull jiving around. They love doing that, right? Till you ask them a question about getting some power for yourself. Then they clam right up on you. Why do you need to know that? Why are you asking that? So if anybody thinks it's accidental, why do we all have the same story? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I want y'all to think about that for a few moments. Remember, he was an intern at MTV or whatever it was for years. He was an intern there. He worked under Madonna. So he learned about the music business from the executive level and the producer level before he ever started doing it himself. We all know he's kind of been on the outside and just licensing with these deals. Now he's talking about owning something. That's a process. You got to buy a television station, man. That's even in Byron Allen territory. That's lawyers, tons of paperwork, dealing with a big corporation. And if you got folk, what makes you all think that they're telling Diddy anything more than they tell the rest of us? What makes any of you think that that they're giving him more information than they give the rest of us? He probably doesn't know much more than the rest of us know. So like, okay, let me go through the process and see what it's like and see what's required. Okay, once I get all the information, I'll come back later and make another pass when we make sure we got everything together. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not really sure, okay, what is involved? Nobody's talking to me, nobody's telling me, but I can make the offer and they'll be required to give me the paperwork. Then they tell you, oh, BET's not for sale. Then they tell you BET's not for sale. Well, yeah, because now you got to give us that information. Remember, Byron Allen had to go to damn me court to get this kind of stuff done. Byron Allen had to go to court to get this kind of stuff done. Call America 317. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Mr. Black? It's Gary from Indiana.
Gary from Indiana, which is ironic, but all right. What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. I noticed you guys earlier were talking about Raven Simone, and I did see all the stuff she went through over at Nickelodeon because they did a lot of body shaming with her. And I remember she used to be strapped, and she went out and she got all this chest reduction and butt reduction done, and now these people are paying to have that done to them. But my thing is, the feds are messing with P. Diddy and they messing with R. Kelly and all that. Why is nobody running up into none of these brothels that are in Carson City, Nevada? I mean, because that would pretty much be considered trafficking too, because those ladies can't leave. They have to stay there. And they have to do their laundry there. And if they do leave, they have to tell whoever's in charge that they're leaving if they let them go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm white and I say so.
But
I'm white and there's no
investigation.
I mean, what you make is a good point. There's no investigation going on there to make sure everything's on the up and up. It's just whatever they do is whatever they do. I'm white and I say so. They're good. Well, how do you know that? Did you investigate them? No, they're good. If something's wrong, the girls would tell us. Well, but you're investigating Diddy. You're not waiting for somebody to come tell you. You're investigating. You're being proactive. Yeah, well, it's good. If something's happened, we'll find out. We can't have resources to go after everybody. No, you're using all your resources on the black folk. So you make a very good point in that regard. It's like, yeah, we're white and we say so. That's it.
I would love to see who owns those brothels.
Well, I mean, they'll tell you that they already own it.
I've always been curious.
They'll tell you that they already own it. But, brother, like I say, I mean, remember Elliot Spitzer, governor in New York. Remember him. It wasn't even law enforcement. People, please remember, it wasn't even law enforcement. He pissed off the Wall Street bankers. And they went to work to find out who is client number 9. They did that, not law enforcement. Some guys at some executives at Home Depot or something. They were the ones who did that to a sitting governor. They found that out. And what I'm saying is, if they can find that out, you damn sure the police can. There's not a single person who is moving a condom in New York City who the cops can't figure out what's going on. They just come to you and me and act dumb because there are only certain people they actually want to catch. They don't want everyone. They're only after a few. They don't want a dragnet. The brothel has to exist and they have to leave it alone. They say, well, it's legal. Yeah, but they're not investigating to make sure. So the folks in the chat room who didn't understand what he was saying, well, he wasn't saying that the brothels are not legal. What he's saying is if you're going to say it's sex trafficking, a brothel is the definition of sex trafficking. So why have you not gone there to find out that all the girls are with the situation? Why are you not going there to question them and ask them, are you being held against your will and are you being deprived and this, that, and the other? That's why we was talking about they can't even move around like they want to move around at that place. They can't even move around like they want to move around, and nobody's going there calling that sex trafficking. But if Diddy were doing the same thing, all of a sudden it's sex trafficking? So it's not sex trafficking at the brothel over there. That ain't sex trafficking. But if you do it as a black man, oh, that's sex trafficking now. But I'm doing the same thing they're doing at the brothel. They have a license. Get in the paddy wagon, nigga. Good question. Good call. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now let me get caller from area code 443. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Piece of ground out here was covered with Negroes.
Caller from area code 626. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what up? Can you hear me, TBA?
Okay, what is your name? Where you calling from?
This is CBR, from LA, but reporting from TPA, and I want to talk about the Diddy situation. Okay. Now, me coming from Los Angeles, Puffy had, a pad up over there and everything like that, and I am in Tampa right now, so Puffy had a pad up in Florida. I personally think it's foul that the FBI rated him the way that they did, especially when you have cats like Harvey Weinstein, Bryan Singer, Kevin Spacey, the list goes on, that played in my city. You know what I mean? Been playing in my city since my city even became established. And, cats could go and see the film that came out recently with Margot Robbie, about like, you know, Hollywood, that came out last year, called Babylon. And it shows that freak offs have been happening in Hollywood. And I was born in Hollywood. I was born off Sunset, where Eddie Murphy, you know what I'm saying, got caught up with the trannies and everything. So that's just a Hollywood thing. You know what I'm saying? That's a Hollywood thing.
Yeah, how
So
did it become
you know,
how did it become a scandal when a black male does it? How is all of a sudden now that's a scandal?
and that's happened with, again, I just brought up Eddie Murphy, Martin, plenty of, as soon as Afrocentric male gets caught up, then all of a sudden it's making headlines. But you know, this is very common for. I mean, if you look at the demographics of my city, the Afrocentric population is extremely small. A lot of people think, you know, as I've been through all the states, a lot of people think that South Central just encompasses all of Los Angeles, including Hollywood. It does not. South Central is a very small dot on the map of Los Angeles. People don't get that. But, you know, for Puff, when I was in high school, you know, Puffy, you know, had a couple of girls that were in my high school in one of his videos, the We Dem Boys Bad Boy remix. You know, one of them got like a boob job, never saw her again, whatever. And she was a teenager, and I wanted to bring this up with the R. Kelly thing, because R. Kelly, you know, in the Midwest, the age of consent is 16 years old. I've been all up and down the Midwest. Shout out to, you know, Chicago with the South Side and the West Side. And the age of consent is 16. So when people like to talk about R. Kelly pulling up to these high schools, and you know, people do realize that juniors in high school are 16 years of age or older. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look here. I'm not gonna condone that, so I can't. I understand what you're saying. I can't condone that, but what I will say, now I will say one thing. When you take a look at certain things in that regard, I'm sitting up here watching the movie from Michael Bay. I'm watching a movie by Michael Bay called Transformers. I'm watching a Michael Bay movie called Transformers, where, was it that fourth one, Age of Extinction? Which was a real creepy one. Because remember, Mark Wahlberg's daughter in that film they put in this story where she's a teenager dating this dude who's grown, and he's telling Mark Wahlberg about the Romeo and Juliet laws.
Really? I didn't see the Marky Mark one because I don't rock with Marky Mark. I don't even rock with Boston. You feel me?
I'm just saying,
so
you know, if you all can look, I'm not trying to empower folks for that kind of thing, but I'm just saying, by the way, this was a major, big budget Hollywood movie that Michael Bay, a premier blockbuster superstar director, and in the middle of a Transformers movie, they put in a plot about the underage daughter dating this grown-ass dude who, by the way, doesn't get killed off or anything. He's starring in the movie the whole time. He's right there with Mark Wahlberg in the movie the whole time. And just putting in this thing about this girl is underage, and he's lecturing Mark Wahlberg about the Romeo, why? Because he's ready to kill him. He's like, the Romeo and Juliet laws. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Michael Bay would slip something like that in there, because again, it's Hollywood. And he's been known to put forth, you know, Bad Boys and things of that nature, where it's like these, excuse me, productions that are made to fuel, you know, like a teenage lust. You know what I'm saying? Or like the teenage fantasy, the male empowerment fantasy.
Yeah, because for example, the first now that you mentioned that, I'm very glad you mentioned that. Okay, the first Transformers live action movie, 2007. Shia LaBeouf is a high schooler, isn't he? If I remember correctly, in that first Transformers movie, 2007, he's in high school. And Megan Fox is the girl he's, got a crush on in high school. I want to say the second movie he goes to college or something like that. I want to say the second movie he goes to college. Yeah, but that first movie, they're supposed to be high schoolers. And several shots in there making her sexualized, even though she was not a high schooler herself, I don't think. I don't think she was actually a high schooler, but she's playing one.
But then she also played a high schooler in Jennifer's Body right after. That was the same year that she was super big. It's kind of funny too, because when you mention it, isn't she married to MGK? And MGK was one of those MCs that was signed by Puffy. And then Royce the 5'9" had a line for him on the Eminem diss track, Not Alike, where he was like selling a cock in your butt for a follower. So it's kind of interesting.
These folks get to do as they please, man. They get to do as they please on the big screen in front of everybody, and everybody's like, "Oh well, that's them." As soon as you show up, all of a sudden, "Oh no, we got a law for you." We got a law for you. I'm not going to defend going after kids, but I am going to say, wait a minute, hold on a second. Why are we not rounding up all of them? If you see an opportunity to pin something on the black person, here you come. But the white dudes are over here grabbing all these little black children. So the white dudes get their Jerry Sandusky on, but y'all ain't coming for them. I see you. Call from area code 347. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Call from area code 347. You're on live. All right, caller from 347 has been abducted. Caller from area code 310. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, it's KT from Inglewood, California, by the way of Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, KT from Inglewood, up to no good. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. It's funny how you mentioned actually you was talking about how we should have sued some of these companies to oblivion. A trucking company, I'll go back, I should have sued them to oblivion. But going back to the P. Diddy, one thing is there's a statement that's always thrown out that people with money don't hate on people without money. But we see that, that's not the truth when it comes to us as black men, because it seems like they have an endless amount of money to go after, especially, i.e. like the Manhattan Institute or Ed Blooms and stuff like that, to go after black men or anything that have to do with our institutions, man. And that's pretty much what I want to speak on right there, bro.
I mean, look, if you're gonna go after a white folk, you gotta have an army and an arsenal with you. A black man can be taken down by the average hoe. A black man can be taken down by the average white chick fresh out the trailer park. A black man, no matter how much money he got, any excuse they can use, here they come. Just some rando chick. A black female, man, you got to be stout. That's why you can't really name a black female who's taking a white man down. You can't really name one. Because she doesn't have the ability to do it. She ain't got it. She ain't got it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You can have all the money in the world. Just understand you're in a system that neutralizes the power of having that. And you can have a white man with no money at all. I mean, a black female, Serena Williams can't make an accusation against a white man. What? But she can't. Serena Williams can't. If she doesn't have it on video in 4K, ain't nobody trying to hear that. She can't do that. This is why black females at their jobs are so subservient. You ain't got no pull with them white men. You can't make an accusation. You make an accusation against your white boss, that accusation is going nowhere. And you all know it. You make that accusation against one of your white managers, your white supervisors, your white superiors, that accusation is going nowhere. Now, you go make that accusation against one of your black male coworkers, here they come. But you go into your job and go make an accusation against one of your white male superiors, ladies. Ain't nobody even listening to you. You might as well have said nothing. They're paying you no attention. You coming back 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years later to check on the investigation. It's still ongoing. We ain't found it. We can't find it. Don't know what to do. Every single female in here, you done had somebody talk to you crazy, do something they shouldn't be doing. Is you even understand? You don't even bother filing a complaint. You don't even bother filing an accusation. You walked up in there, you saw the other 4 white folk, the people with real power at your job. You sitting out there on the floor with all the black folk. It's only when you try to do something against them that when you say, okay, let me get all the people with real power have to make this decision. We can't just go off of you. You looked around, okay, all the white folk are here. Oh, it's not a black face in the room. You already understand you can't pull that lever. There's no lever there for you. There is no lever there for you. Call America code 937. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name's Calvin from Jacksonville.
All right, Calvin from Jacksonville. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just thinking, it seems like nowadays it's like there's no room for any kind of evidence or anything like that anymore. It's just like, I feel like at some point, like there used to be some use for evidence. Like nowadays, it doesn't seem like there's any use for evidence. It doesn't even seem like it. Like, it's like some third world country type stuff going on. And it's like, we live in America, it's supposed to be superpower. Ain't got no use for evidence for anything.
Well, brother, like I say, it's always been that way. We allowed the strategy of integration to delude us into believing it wasn't the same place it's always been. They don't need evidence. What you find out is they don't need evidence to go after you. The evidence is I'm white and I say so. And you have to prove that what I said didn't happen. Please remember, Cassie and the rest of these folk, ain't nobody brought you a shred of evidence that anything illegal occurred. Nothing. None of them have. None of them volunteered. None of them have offered. If the authorities or the media had it, they would have already shown it. They would have already presented that to you if that had actually happened. They're telling you, all they got is, well, did he have some sex with some folk and can we criminalize that? Sure we can. Thank you very much for giving us a call. They haven't presented you any evidence. They just said, oh, well, we say it's illegal. We're rummaging through his house for what? We say it was illegal. No, we don't have any proof whatsoever. All we got is a couple of scummy broads' word for it. But in a system of white supremacy, that's all you need. That's all you need, folks. Do you think that any of the chicks that Ashton Kutcher ran through can come back today talking about, ooh, he did this, that, and the other, and we were sex trafficked, and he handed me off? If you're black, you a hoe. He handed me off. You a hoe. Okay. If you try that with a white man, you're just silenced. Now, they will let you try that with a black man. It's like, okay, if you can be useful to do that, that's all we need. If he doesn't allow any white women into the circle, they'll find some black coon female. And it's okay, you can go ahead and do that. But you better believe you can't pull that trigger over there on them. You can't pull that trigger on them. No, we don't need physical evidence. The physical evidence is we white and we say so. We're white and we say so. Now prove that we're wrong. We say you were sex trafficking. We say that you were sex trafficking those girls and that there were drugs and everything else. By the way, y'all, do you notice they're piling on now? Did you all notice they're piling on now? This is the systematic thing of attacking your character. Well, P. Diddy was trying to get some pink cocaine. Pink cocaine. I had never heard of that before this week. Pink cocaine. Oh, when you can't get the real thing. Sean Combs can't get the real thing. Sean Combs can get a Rolls Royce and a bunch of guns, but he can't keep his cocaine habit fully stocked? People, does that even sound right? That sounds like some racial stereotype. Well, you know, Negroes can't really buy the good stuff. So, look, we have a theory that they would get something janky. Folks, does that even sound right? So, Bobby Brown ain't never had no pink cocaine, but P. Diddy he has to get pink cocaine. Folks, do you understand? Does that even sound right? Well, we found the white dude, and they claim that one of his girlfriends did. Do you get that? So he can get anything he wants. He can get a freak in, freak out, freak up, freak down, freak right, freak wrong. He can get all, but he can't get the drugs he wants on a consistent basis. He has to get some bootleg Arm& Hammer stuff. He can't just do what he do. What the hell? So the white dudes can get their cocaine with no additives and no preservatives, but if you black, it's all right. If you're black, it's, well, hey, here's a fad thing. Here's a fad thing you can do. You know those Negroes, they like to mix things. You know, get that scissorp. This is like the cocaine version of that scissorp. They would do that, you know. Come on, folks, we piling on. They did that with Michael Jackson, remember? Remember? For those of us who are young enough, they claim Michael Jackson was on drugs for the longest damn time. Maybe he was doing some back in the 80s. That wasn't what killed him. Something you need a doctor for killed him. Well, you know, he's real skinny. White women can be skinny and that's legit. White women can be skinny and that's okay. White women can be skinny and that's cool. A black man is skinny, you must be on drugs. The man dances his ass off day and night. He's like Michael Jordan practicing. The man was a professional dancer. Let me say this right quick to all my Prince fans out there. Prince was probably a better artist. Michael was a better performer. So let's just leave it at that. Michael danced his ass off. So, okay, when you white, you can be skinny as a toothpick, and that's legit. Michael Jackson is just slender. You must be on drugs. Anything they can, they weaponize it against you. Anything they can. Remember, they tried to say he was a womanizer, remember? Michael Jackson, remember? They tried to say that. They saw him getting booed up with Lisa Presley. Oh, hell no. Then they went from womanizer to child molester. Can't you see when people are grasping at straws? Every time we turn around, that's the playbook. They accuse you of something that they can't prove happened and you can't disprove it because it didn't occur. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Okay, had a caller who was on the line there. I hit the wrong button. I'm sitting up here messing up. Let me give them a minute here to see if they call back in for that there, because I don't want to take this spot in line from them there. So go ahead and call back up. I hit the wrong button by accident there. Let me give you a minute to go ahead and do that. But yeah, folks, you don't get to do that. And no matter how accomplished you are, take a look at that picture up there. Diddy has spent the better part of the last 25 years trying to rehabilitate his image. He's been trying to rehabilitate his image now for going on 2 decades. 2 decades. And so they're pulling out the old card here. Black male sexuality is predatory. Black male sexuality, they're going to grab all the women. Meanwhile, over on Damn Me Epstein Island, damn! So the black men can't be in the room with more than one female, and over there on Epstein Island, you can have a kindergarten full of girls. Caller Mirror Code 917, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Jason Black. I'm calling from out of Westchester.
All right, Jason out of Westchester, what's on your mind?
I'm Daryl calling out of Westchester. I have a question. Two things I wanted to ask you. What's going on with all the black people on social media trying to chop Puff Daddy's head off? Why is that happening?
Because it's easy to get black folk to be jealous of other black people for no explanation whatsoever. White society says it, and you will get a significant number of people to follow it. No questioning, no critical thinking. The guy who called in earlier, what's your issue with Puff Daddy? Well, I don't think I can respect him and look up to him, and he ain't a good role model. Okay, well, name a white person that you consider a good role model. Steve Jobs, what do you know about him? Nothing. Really? So, brother, it's just that simple. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing once said that white society plays dumb about racism and black people play dumb right along with them. And that's literally what you see. Okay. If they see white society leading this direction, they're like, okay, let's that must be the word. Let's go.
And one more thing. You have 50 Cent added on with that too as well. Is that cool from him?
Most of what, as far as I'm concerned, I really don't rock with 50 Cent ever since the Michael K. Williams thing. It's not my kind of people. I don't wish anything ill on him. I don't wish anything well on him either. He's kind of just out there on his own. I don't rock with that kind of thing. I don't fool around with that kind of thing. So, I guess in many ways, it's not really a psychology I try to figure out. I just take people at face value. Name a person that he's not at odds with. That's not good. Name a person, a significant person that he's not at odds with. Who does he get along with? Who does he work well with? From women to everything else, he doesn't get along with anybody. Anybody. And that's the only one common denominator is him. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. He's the only common denominator in that equation there. So it's like, yes, kind of hard to take some things seriously under those circumstances. Powerful lessons being learned here. Sean Combs is learning a lesson now, by the way. No, I will not be remiss. I would be remiss if I didn't say it, but no, it goes without saying, though I will say it anyway. Sean, I couldn't help but notice a similarity between you, O.J. Simpson, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. A bunch of you fellas get on, and then you start getting a reputation with other people for not getting on, for not doing right by them. And what I've said this about Diddy before, and I'll say it again. It would be great if Diddy had some folk to speak up for him right now. It sure isn't helpful that damn near the whole Bad Boys record alumni has nothing but the most venomous, villainous, acidic things they can say. That's not good. You're a hit with the girls when they come by your house, but ain't none of these gals got no pull to be able to speak for you in the public square. None of these gals you got around you can vouch for your character or vouch for your credibility. You spent decades hearing that kind of stuff occur, and instead of turning around and saying, hey, I need to address some of that. I can't have everybody from the record label and they take an issue with me. I can't have everybody do that. I better go fix some bridges. You can't, that's the reason that they waited all these decades to go after him. Because they know now it's like, ain't nobody really gonna speak up for him hard body. Nobody is going to the mat for him because they're already holding grudges against him. Because he told himself, as long as I'm good with the white record executives, it doesn't matter what the niggas under me think. But you're assuming that they gonna let you get away with the same stuff they're doing. And if you told yourself that you were too important for that, you're too big to fail. I'm telling y'all right now, what Diddy thought if they ever come after me, I'll drop the dime on everybody. What Diddy was thinking was, if the bigger dudes, the bigger dogs ever come for me, I'm going to drop the dime on everyone. And what they did was get him in the position where he ain't got no dimes to drop. He has no dimes to drop. Even if he started doing it, ain't nobody listening to that part. They're focusing on you. But they're not listening to any dimes you got to drop on anybody else. And now he needs to have some of the cats he knew from 20 years ago rock with him. Nobody's putting themselves out. If they do speak up, they're all speaking against him. Man, look here. What I'm saying is you can't please everybody, but you better be able to have at least half of them folk be able to say, hey, this dude is solid. Or at least be able to speak up for you. You need to have that. And right now he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. The main reason that we can't go to the mat for Diddy is because the people who've known him for 20, 30 years can't go to the mat for him. That's a bad spot to be in. Call from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Jet 2 from Los Angeles.
All right, Jet 2 from LA. What's on your mind?
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to expand upon what you were saying just now about Diddy having no one to go to bat for him. I think that's 100% why it's very integral that we stay on code, especially when we get into those positions of power, to be able to put our people on, or put black people on, because you already know that the system of white supremacy is going to go, against anyone who is in power, and I that makes me feel concerned for like Hov, for all those, for all the people that are in power, because they trying to take us out for sure.
Well, I mean, certainly as a black person, if you get more accomplished, you're vulnerable. You are vulnerable to an extraordinary level. And I said this over a decade ago, and I'm saying it again now. All these folks that they propped up, if the opportunity ever presents itself, the dominant society is on code. They don't see your money and your wealth as yours. They see it as theirs, belonging to the dominant society. And when an opportunity presents itself to go after you, then it's time to claw back the money. They, quote, gave it to you. That's their perspective. You don't earn anything in the system of white supremacy. As far as they're concerned, they gave that to you, but it doesn't belong to you. So when they get ready to come take it back, here we go. And that's why down the line, when you read about these people, like James Brown getting a bunch of his money took, Michael Jackson, Prince, Lionel Richie, there's a reason we got the same damn story going on over most professional athletes. The majority of professional athletes go broke. The majority. That's not accidental. It's time to get that wealth back. When they come in the league, it's big ass trucks, big ass rims, big ass houses, big ass money. Like Busta Rhymes say, big money, big bank, big everything. And when they leave, it ain't nothing. Now, how the hell did that happen? That's the way it's set up. We're going to claw back the money, claw back the wealth. You got a crooked CPA, you got a crooked agent, you got a crooked manager. We're going to give you a crooked agent and give you a crooked manager. And when this is all over, you won't have anything. You're going to give all of that back. All of it. And I can't say there's a way around it necessarily. What I will say is that if you are black and you've got means or something, you are vulnerable. The only thing that I have seen counter that is a black person who has a wide array of support, either from the public at large or from some black folk with resources who rally around them. That's the only time I've ever seen where they tried to take him down and it didn't work. I'll let you have the last word.
So, thank you. So to say that's one of the things I really feel is important, that for all my black B1 out there, you on your journey, when you get your success, please put your other, I'll say niggas on, put your niggas on, you feel me? And I'll land the plane there.
Well, I think that's a good policy to have. I've done that for over a decade and a half. I've literally got hundreds of people, IT, trucking, medical, carpentry, skilled trades. I do this all the time, every single week. Y'all get somebody who calls me up every single week, sends me a message every single week saying, Jason, thank you for what you've done for me. Thank you for getting me on. My life is turned around. I got all this together. And, like I say, I've lived that kind of thing. But I'm just a guy over here. Imagine what Bill Cosby or Tyler Perry or Diddy could have done. And I'm like, well, hey, if you want to be an island unto yourself, you can do that. But just remember, North Sentinel Island didn't get conquered because North Sentinel Island's got more than one person on it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You can be an island unto yourself, but remember, self-identifying islands are very easy to conquer. They are very easy to conquer. So all these fellas out here trying to make some hedonistic island unto themselves, and when them people come for them, there's nobody to defend them. There's nobody to defend them. We ain't looking for you to hand out no turkeys on Thanksgiving. Dude, when you get in that position, if you gonna be living that kind of life, you got to have a bunch of folk who going to vouch for you, man. You have to have a bunch of people who going to be solid and vouch for you if you going to live this kind of life. If you going to be out here and live that life and run them roads like that, dude, folk going to come for you. I hope this is also a message to every black man out there. Hey, fellas. Your sexual interactions have been officially criminalized. Not non-consensual sex, just, that's not the kind of sex we think you should be having. That's literally what they're saying now is we want to criminalize sex that we don't think you should be having. You're having a type of sex we don't think you should be having. What about the white dudes over there? We're talking about you right now, nigga. So let me get this straight. The white dudes get to bring in bull whips, cool whip, and cattle. One of them is over there in the corner with one of the damn me Keebler elves, but you over here yelling at me about a freak off? This fella is in the bathroom with a Keebler elf and a goat, but you over here yelling at me about a freak off. He's violating every law of God and man, but you raid, the police is raiding my house. They're at my house with guns. Meanwhile, this fella's got Animal Farm. and a bunch of kindergartners, but you in my house with guns. Talking about we don't like the kind of sex you doing this. What, am I missing the goat? Was that the problem? Okay, so having a live girl and some boys is bad, but the goat is cool. If I had the goat, that'd be okay. Y'all thought Lil Nas X was as bad as it could get. Do you see what they are maneuvering you towards now? No, I'm not joking. Fellas, I want folk to think about what this effect is meant to say. This effect is meant to tell black men that black men having sex with actual biological females, oh, that's illegal. Nobody is coming after Lil Nas X when he gets his Andrew Gillum on. What? Nobody's coming after Lil Nas X when he gets his Andrew Gillum cracking. But if you're a black male having sex with biological females, they're like, oh, you know we can arrest you for that, right? Oh, you know we can raid your house, right? Oh, you know we can come looking through your things, right? No proof. It's just, well, it was consensual. I've known him for 10 years. She was on planes and trains and everything else for 10 years. That doesn't prove it was consensual. What? Folks, do you understand? So you can have a female around for 10 years. You can be paying her bills and everything else, and they're coming back and telling you just because she was getting on airplanes and coming to see you for 10 years and going to music award shows for 10 years and going all these places with you for 10 years, that doesn't mean it was consensual. Do you all hear how far I'm white and I say so is going? Yeah, you can be with a chick for 10 years and that just because you were together 10 years, that doesn't mean it was consensual. And my point is you're vulnerable. My point is that you are vulnerable. And those are the rules going forward. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified Race Wars, soon to be 8 a.m. Patience, please. We know you're hungry. Blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I know that you all know that I broadcast on holidays, and Good Friday is usually not one of the ones I broadcast on. So tonight's program has been a bit of a special treat for you all, but you all know I don't usually do Good Friday. I usually take the really big federal holidays and things, but I saw an opportunity to go ahead and do this as well, so we're here tonight. Hopefully this broadcast gets most of you up to speed here. I want to think, is that Cassandra who signed up to be a member? Cassandra, is that you? Okay. I got a lot of folks who signed up to be members on the channel here tonight. A lot of you were giving gifts for it. So for all of you who've done that, thank you very much for your support. I appreciate that. I'm humbled by that. We're going to get everything reorganized and get it together here, and hopefully without any hiccups. You all be watching for that. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.